Hello,
Hey, what's
everyone.
up?
Hey, yeah, this is gonna be a pretty exciting episode. Because today I actually have Mark from CoasterDash as my guest. He is a fellow California coaster enthusiast. I guess I did the intro out of order, but that's all right. But this will be the 23rd episode as well of Coaster Time, hosted by me, Carrick from Coaster Hour. If you are new, how these live streams work is basically we go through various different segments where you, the viewers, can participate in a decent amount of them. And as I mentioned, I have a fellow California coaster enthusiast, Mark from Coaster Dash, here today, a rapidly growing channel. And so, Mark, since you are new, if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself, where to find you, that would be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, so what's going on, guys? Mark from CoasterDash here, and if you want to find me on social media, your best bet is going to be finding me on YouTube for sure. That's where my rapid growth has been taking place. And then also I have an Instagram. Don't take it as seriously as YouTube, but it's there if you want to check it out. And I just post photos like every couple days. But yeah, YouTube, I post every other day, and it's where all my good content is going to be. So yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, so in the chat, guys, tell us if the audio is good for both of us, just so we know that before we head right into the news. We are going to go right into it because I will actually, Imperial Coaster, I see that. I will actually address what you're talking about. But the audio is good. All right, everyone says it's good. So we're going to move on to the news, and that's going to be that. So, to start off the news, as you all probably know, today is the 20th anniversary, or 20 years ago today, the attacks of 9/11 occurred. I was not around for when this happened, but obviously it was one of the most tragic events really in U.S. history and one of the scariest days as well. Because, I mean, 2,977 Americans, they lost their lives, and the iconic World Trade Center also got destroyed, and the Pentagon also got damaged. I wanted to mention this because, yeah, I know I'm doing the stream on this day, and I know this is a very important event, so I wanted to acknowledge it, and I guess kind of respect the 2,977 Americans who lost their lives on this tragic day. That's pretty much, like I said, just wanted to acknowledge that because that is a big deal with today, especially with given the events that have taken place more recently, making this all the more relevant. So with that being said, we're gonna move on to the news in the amusement industry. And we're going to start off with the incidents or accidents. And unfortunately, this week we had a passing of a 6-year-old girl named Wangel Estefanos. She passed away on the haunted mine drop at Glenwood Caverns on September 5th. Reason for her passing are still unknown, though an autopsy did reveal that she had multiple blunt force injuries, but there's not a whole lot of information out there. Very tragic event. For sure, and I can't even imagine what the family's going through.
Yeah, man, that's just pile it onto the list of incidents that's going on. It's not slowing down, even though I kind of thought it would by this point. But yeah, so obviously thoughts and prayers go out to the family. Very upsetting incident. I hope the ride is functioning properly. I don't know exactly the cause to it. I don't think anyone knows the cause to it right now, but
Yeah,
it
details are
sucks.
scarce. Yeah,
It sucks.
absolutely. It's just a terrible situation for everyone involved here. So, like I said, can't even imagine what the family's going through. And then in terms of other incidents, this was more because of trespassing, but a woman injured her leg at Six Flags Great Adventure after she trespassed and attempted to climb a building and fell. Great Adventure has had a lot of weird stuff happen this year. This is just not really the fault of the park. This just kind of happened. Don't trespass, I guess, is the thing to get out of this.
Yeah, I don't really feel bad, to be honest. Don't trespass. I mean, you're not going to injure your leg if you don't trespass. So don't trespass.
Yeah, make sure to follow the park rules. And speaking of that, we actually had a fight that occurred on Behemoth at Canada's Wonderland where a man punched employees. Reason was because it's park policy that you had to wear a mask on the coaster. He refused to do it. He decided to fight the employees over it and would get arrested afterwards. Just another thing, just follow the park rules and you'll be fine. So another just head scratching thing to happen this week, or the last few weeks actually.
I saw a video on that, and that just freaked me out, man. It's not that hard to wear a mask, and you know, if you don't have to, you don't have to. If you have to, you have to. It's just follow the rules, really. And yeah, again, like I don't really feel bad. I mean, feel bad for the employees for sure, but I don't feel bad for the guests at all. It's their fault. Why would you start a fight over something so stupid? I don't know.
Yeah. And then the last thing we had was an eventful day at Magic Kingdom. There was earlier in the day on, I believe it was September 4th, Saturday, September 4th, there was an evacuation of Tom Sawyer's Island after a suspicious person was spotted. Witnesses say they had a hatchet, but that's not confirmed. Weird situation there, but they had to evacuate that area. And then later that day, a fight occurred on a Magic Kingdom ferry boat between two groups of guests. That video went viral. I'm sure plenty of you have seen it at this point. But just another thing that it's just head scratching once again.
Yeah, I don't know much about this at all, but I think this is my first time hearing about this, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I haven't heard about this. But
it was like everywhere on Twitter, at least where I was looking.
I don't really use Twitter, so that's probably why. But yeah, interesting.
Sense.
Interesting.
Yeah, but just another thing. It's just surprising to see this stuff happen. But moving on to better news, we have some ride openings. Nothing too major, but we did get the opening of Mach Fun Tower at Funplex in Myrtle Beach. This is an SBF Visa flat ride where you're seated in this little plane thing and it inverts. It's actually, this version they have is the tallest they have. The thing on the top right is the kind of ride it is. That's not the exact ride that it is. It's a different, like one in a different park, but that's kind of the idea. Along with that, FlyOver Las Vegas, a flying theater opened. That's on the left. That is a flying theater. And then Triotech 4D Theater at Happy Valley Tianjin also opened in China. That one has been getting attention because it has a logo that's almost identical to the Smiler for it, which could lead to some copyright issues. But yeah, so those are your like 3 ride openings that I guess found.
I'm excited about the flying theater in Vegas. I don't live too far from Vegas, so I know the next time I'm in Vegas for sure, I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, I mean, that actually looks pretty cool, and it's got 2 different scenarios. You have the one that's like kind of the, I think it's like Wild West is I believe what it is, like, and you go over to Grand Canyon. And then there's another one that's like, I think Iceland or, yeah, I believe that's what it is. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
It looks really cool. So I hope you're able to do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of ride reopenings, we have Wonder Woman, Lasso of Truth. This is at Six Flags Great Adventure. It was closed for like a month for some reason. It reopened in late August. And then speaking of Great Adventure, Jersey Devil Coaster also reopened within the last few weeks after having to be closed due to what people claim to be was RMC's request to have the ride closed due to whatever happened with Stunt Pilot a few weeks back. And then we also had Poltergeist reopen with its new paint job and the retheme and the improved queue, and also Berserker at California's Great America, which is the U.S.'s only operating Schwarzkopf Bayern curve currently, because Kennywood's actually is no longer operating, and they actually used the parts on this, and they gave it to him, and that's why it was closed for a while. There were also a few other reopenings. I'll just get to them as well. Tatsu at Magic Mountain. I don't know if it has quite reopened yet, but it's supposed to reopen today. And then Superman Escape from Krypton is now going forwards, which I just included as a reopening because it hasn't operated like that in like 11 years. So a lot of reopenings this past few weeks.
Yeah, really good news for Magic Mountain. A lot of stuff to look forward to there.
Absolutely. I'd been kind of waiting for Tatsu to reopen. So maybe I'll go at some point in the near future. We'll see. I haven't been since 2019, so
Yeah,
that'd
man,
be good to
Tatsu's
do.
awesome. I'm so excited to ride that again.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites there as well, so can't wait to do it. And Superman should be really interesting. Can't wait to do it forwards. It's going to be a cool experience. In terms of ride closures, we had a few of them. Buzzsaw at Dreamworld Australia, that's the Mohr Skyloop, that has closed for good, although it will likely be sold somewhere else. It already was on like a used rides website. Wicked Twister closed a few days ago, which obviously that one is probably the most well-known one out of all of these in terms of ride closures. And then to add on to that, we had 3 removals from Ocean Park in Hong Kong. Wild West Mine Train closed. That is the very scenic Zamperla Mine Train. That has some of the best views of any coaster in the world, at least according to some. Along with Abyss, which is a SNS drop tower, that is also being taken out, and then Raging River has also closed, which is their log flume. And I actually emailed the park because there was hardly any coverage of this, but they confirmed that all these rides are no longer operating. So
Yeah.
sad news there.
Yeah, Wicked. I'm particularly upset about Wicked Twister. I also hope Hong Kong Ocean Park is able to make it through, but who knows? But yeah, Wicked Twister, it got buried in the lineup at Cedar Point for sure. And so, you could go to Cedar Point, you could miss it, and not the end of the world. But it's the one ride there that never got a line, and you could just lap that thing over and over again. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who, or a decent amount of people who were like who were at least, I don't know, big fans, but they were certainly fans of the ride, and they would do it on whenever they could because, yeah, as you said, it hardly ever got a line. So it's too bad that it's going. It wasn't one of my favorites, but I still do respect it because it was a ride that at least you could do like pretty much anytime you went to Cedar Point if you wanted to. So that
Yeah,
is
I'm
unfortunate
hoping
they
it's
had
not
to
the
remove
end of
it.
the ride completely. I think it might get relocated.
Yeah, that whole relocation thing, I hope it happens. I don't know if it'll be to a Cedar Fair park, as weird as that sounds, because
I could see that. Yeah.
it doesn't sound like any other Cedar Fair park besides Kings Island is getting a not Kings Island, Kings Dominion is getting a new ride next year, but we'll see what happens. We also had several ride delays. Obviously, we had the SeaWorld Big Four plus Big Bird's tour bus. They are all being delayed till 2022. All of them, I believe, besides Icebreaker, are March of 2022. Icebreaker, I believe, is February of 2022. But at least we now know an opening date, so that's good.
Finally.
Yeah, hopefully that they stick to that. And then not Sierra Side, Sidewinder Safari, both spinning coasters, right?
Yeah.
Sidewinder Safari is also being delayed till next year, which is also good that we're getting an update with that because hardly anything has been going on with the plot of land it's
Oh
supposed
yeah,
to
I
go
thought that was
into.
completely canceled. I'm
Yeah,
like amazed that they're bringing Sidewinder Safari back. They hadn't talked about that ride in like how long? 2 years. I don't know. Something crazy.
it had been a long time, and there were a bunch of rumors that got canceled, but nope, it's still around, so that's good.
Yeah, good for
Um,
DJ. Yeah.
Yep, that'll be a nice family coaster for them. So good to see them get that. Next, we have SeaWorld San Antonio. You could potentially call this a delay because it was kind of rumored that this was supposed to open last year, but they never announced it, so I wouldn't count it. But they're receiving Tidal Surge, which will be the world's tallest and fastest SNS Scream and Swing, and a much needed thrilling flat ride for the park's lineup.
Yeah, I love Scream and Swings. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, I've never done one. These look so fun, though. I can't wait. I
Yeah.
like how this one looks from the concept art. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I hope they stick to that theming. That looks nice.
Yeah. Next, this is probably one of the most anticipated things. Universal Studios Beijing will hold its official grand opening on September 20th. this park has burned me in the past in terms of me misreporting on news on it. Universal put on their website that it is opening on September 20th. So if it doesn't, I don't know what to tell you. But this park looks absolutely amazing, and POVs for rides have already come out because of previews. This park looks absolutely phenomenal. Definitely one of the top bucket list parks for me in Asia and potentially even the world.
Oh yeah, I saw their Jurassic World ride. Is that what that is? The boat ride that
Yeah.
they have? That looks fantastic. Like I'm floored over that.
Yeah, I saw that. I haven't looked at too many of them, but I watched that one just because everyone was telling me to. Yeah, that thing looks exceptional.
Yeah. Do
Like,
you know? Does this park have a Hogsmeade area, like Forbidden Journey and all that?
yeah, they do. Yep, they
Wow.
do
Okay,
have
so
a Hogsmeade.
they're gonna have a good bunch of stuff to look forward to there for sure.
Yeah, Jurassic World. They have the Jurassic World area, like Isla. I forget what it's called, but they have a Jurassic World area. They have a Kung Fu Panda area. They have a Hogsmeade. They have a Transformers area, and they have something else too, but I can't quite remember. I'm pretty sure they have something else, but it looks amazing.
Yeah, good stuff. Excited.
Next, we have Disney World. They have resumed annual pass sales, and it looks like the system they will be using will be the new pass system will be a tiered system similar to the Magic Key at Disneyland, California. But those are back on sale for anyone who wants to purchase them now.
Oh man, my bank account.
Yep. I don't know anyone who's gotten the new ones of this, but I know some people who got the Magic Key, and I'm like, dang. That's just a lot. But yeah. Next bit of news. Momonga Standing and Loop Coaster at Yomiuri Land in Japan will close on September 20th. This is debatably the first coaster to ever feature stand-up trains, and even if it isn't the first, it is the oldest operating, but it will close for good on September 20th. So that is unfortunate to see, just because it's I had heard it was a good ride, and it was obviously kind of a pioneer in a way.
Yeah, I mean the Togos in Japan actually look good, so it's unfortunate that we're losing some, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Some of these smaller Japan parks, I was worried about them before the pandemic. I don't know how they're gonna fare afterwards. I think Yomiuri Lane will be fine, but I think referring
Yeah,
to
no,
some of the even
I
smaller
completely
ones.
understand. Like what's Tobu Zoo? Like what?
Yeah, that one I don't. Out of all the ones, I don't know if I would think that one would be
I
one that
kind of
would be
also
that
don't
much
really
miss.
care if Tobu Zoo closes. Like I don't
Yeah,
really care.
the exhibits they have are seem atrocious. So
Oh yeah. No, it does not look like a good park.
yeah, so but a lot of the other ones look cool, so that's unfortunate.
Uh-huh.
Next, we have Riddler Mindbender. Technically, some people have been able to ride it. I believe there's been some previews, but its official reopening date at Six Flags Over Georgia will be on September 18th. This will be the first time it has opened since 2019. And some reviews for it, like I said from the previews, that people are already saying that the ride experience is a little bit different. So
Yeah,
that
and
is interesting.
first time I'm announcing this, I'll actually be there on September 18th for my first visit
Oh,
on Mindbender's
wow.
opening day.
Nice.
Never been over Georgia, so we got like a media invite to go before park open and get some ear tea on this thing. So hell yeah, I'm catching a red eye and hitting the park next week.
Awesome. Yeah, I had no clue about
Yeah,
that.
I just found out 2 days ago, so that's why you had no idea.
Wow.
Pretty cool
That's
stuff, yeah.
That's awesome. Hopefully there that the all the rides there, including Riddler Mindbender, will be running reliably. So
I
uh,
definitely hope so, yeah.
good luck with your visit there.
Thank you.
Next bit of news, Lagotronics Projects has announced Battle Arena, which is a new shooting interactive flat ride. This is a concept art for it. Interesting looking thing. I don't know who will pick this up, but this company, it has manufactured some dark rides, mostly in Europe, but I believe they did a shooting dark ride at Lake Compounds. I forget what it's called, but I believe they did that as well. But they're doing this new attraction. Looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's a weird looking thing. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it is it does look weird. I'm curious if anyone will pick it up, like I said. Um, Next, we have Skyline Attractions. They have announced Pescetti Bowl, which is a new kiddie single rail coaster model that has 4 layout variations, and you can also get a custom layout, such as this dueling layout right here. Will be interesting to see if any parks are willing to work with Skyline. I think this actually could be solid if this is a reliable coaster. It's just kind of hard to say given the current track record of Skyline, but I'm intrigued by this. I will say that.
Yeah, Skyline, man, what an interesting company. I think they should work on perfecting their previous models before they go on to do something like this. But I hope this works out, because a single rail kiddie coaster, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely make them visually interesting, which isn't something I would necessarily say for most kiddie coasters. So I like the idea. And Skyline has they've done a lot of projects for other companies, so they have the experience. They just need to put it together when it comes to actually manufacturing their own rides.
Exactly.
So hopefully they're able to do that. And speaking of new coaster models, Mohr has revealed their Spike Maze coaster, which will be an indoor model that allows riders to accelerate and decelerate, and it features interactive game elements as well. Also should mention this is a powered coaster. I mean, I feel like that like the actual like Spike coasters are. So if you watch the video of it, I have the links to the new stuff in the description. You'll get a better idea of it because it's kind of hard to explain.
It's definitely hard to explain. No, this is going to be a really weird ride. I hope it happens, though, like pretty soon. I want to see one of these built, because I don't know, that's so unique and cool.
Yeah, make sure to watch the video. If you haven't, it'll give you a much better idea of what this ride will be like than like anyone could probably ever explain it. So yeah, cool looking ride though. Next, we have Adventureland in Iowa. They have announced the removal of these 3 flat rides you see up here, which are Falling Star, Lighthouse, and Lady Luck. They're removing them to make way for 10 new family-style rides for 2022. Some people have said they're doing this to try to sort of compete with the opening of Lost Island, which should be next year. So the new theme park in Iowa. So interesting.
I feel like this is kind of a little bit of a downgrade.
It depends on how you look at it, because
I mean, it's good that they're catering to everyone. Like, they have their thrill rides already; they're set. But I don't know. I saw some of these flat rides when I was there, and just thought they were like really cool and unique. And I was like, huh. I mean, there are offerings here, and they're not offerings at many other parks. So the fact that they're kind of getting rid of all of them and pulling let's add a bunch of kiddie rides, kind of a quantity over quality type thing. I don't know.
I'm not too familiar with the park, so I don't know if they're lacking in the family rides department. I would have to imagine that like the locals would have to be pretty disappointed. I imagine these are like fan favorites, and there's certainly rides I would have liked to check out, to have checked out before they were being removed. But yeah, we'll see how this goes for Adventureland. The next bit of news is that Zamperla has unveiled a new Lightning coaster layout, and I would say just by looking at it, it looks pretty similar to some of looks like their take on like some like the newer Vekoma models, like their layouts. That's kind of my thought on this.
Yeah, it looks like a Vekoma whatever, just one of their newer models. So weird.
Yeah. I'm curious. Zamperla, I know they're doing a lot of work to improve like their coasters, so I'm hoping this is able to work out for them. But some of the shaping of the elements, as some people have pointed out, look really weird in the rendering, so that'll be interesting to keep an eye on for sure. Land of Legends Park. This is the park that has the clone of Flash Hyper Coaster, which is the Mach Rides Hyper in China. They have a clone of it. Well, they're also going to be getting a new Mach Power Splash, as shown on RCDB. A new entry came in for it, so that's how we know. And I think there's been a little bit of information online for it, but not that much.
Yeah, I'm glad they're getting this. It's a good fit, yeah. I mean, I'm glad we're seeing more Mach Power Splash coasters pop up. Like, I made a video on that topic with CoasterDash. We just talked about how like Mach Power Splashes are gonna blow up, and it looks like that's starting to happen. I mean, there's one that just opened in Kazakhstan. Now
Yep.
we have one opening in Turkey at what seems to be the best park in Turkey. So, I mean, cool stuff, yeah.
And then South Korea, I believe, is also slated to get one. They're starting to pop up everywhere. So
Yeah, yeah, and these look like fun rides, so I'm happy about it. I hope they become the new Boomerang, you know?
that would be pretty fun. Interestingly enough, though, the park that has it already has another Intamin water coaster, I believe. So, an interesting fit, but it is hot over there. So, I guess the more the better for these sort of water rides. So,
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Two water coasters in one. You're pulling to
yeah.
Europa Park, I guess.
But at least here I can see it because Turkey gets pretty hot, I have to imagine.
Yeah.
Next, we have a North American first, and that is that LaRonde is requiring guests 13 or older to show proof of vaccination to enter due to new mandates in Quebec. That's, I believe, most of the reasoning behind it is just Quebec is being, they're pretty much like implementing like sweeping mandates, and that's applies to the parks as well. So not sure if this is something to come for North America. Could be something to keep an eye on, but they are the first major park in North America to require vaccination to enter.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm not really going to get into it because I don't want this whole thing to get along politics and stuff. Like, people are going to have varying opinions on this, and so I'm going to choose not to comment on it. But
Yeah,
I don't have a
kinda
problem
same.
with it. I'm vaccinated, so I mean, I'll go to Laurent. I'll go.
Yeah. I just mention it because this was, like I said, a North American first. If this kind of happens, kind of like with the park reopenings and stuff, I'll probably stop reporting on it because it's going to be like every park's reopening and every park's implementing this. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that'll be interesting if it comes to the U.S.
Yeah. Next bit of news, the Golden Ticket Awards have been released, the award winners. You can check them out on the website. Some of the notable winners, Fury 325 won Best Steel Coaster, Phoenix won Best Wooden Coaster, Velocicoaster won Best New Coaster, and Rise of the Resistance took in 3 awards, including Best New Attraction and 2 other ones, which was crazy. Oh, and Europa Park won Best Park. But if you want to look at all the awards, you can check them out on the Golden Ticket Awards website. And yeah, so there
Yeah, I
you
mean, I
go.
don't agree with all the lists they have for sure, but what I will say is, I'm glad Fury won Steel Coaster because Fury Supremacy is real. That ride is amazing. It's not my number one Steel Coaster, but it's so good that I almost don't mind that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of come to expect that. We're a lot of people are just not going to agree with the Golden Ticket Awards, and the results seem to be pretty similar each year, outside of a few weird placings in the top 50 that like come and go.
Yeah, yeah,
But like Whizzer last year, whatever it was, so or 2019, that was like in the top 50. So, um, but yeah. Next, Steel Curtain at Kennywood has closed early for the season. This is due to maintenance, as they're saying, and it has already, like I said, closed for the rest of the season. You can see this on Kennywood's website. They have a thing on the top saying that, and if you look at Steel Curtain, it also shows up. So it is done for the season.
this is my first time hearing about this, and I just want to say, Steel Curtain has been such a flop for that park. Like, that
Yes.
thing has been closed more than it's been open, even including 2021, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know what the deal is with that ride.
Yeah, it's crazy. They better figure this out. Like, I know it's a newer coaster and there's COVID and everything, but next year is gonna be year 4. They better figure it out.
No,
So
Max Force looks much more unreliable than Steel Curtain, but is it? No. I don't know what's going on at Kennywood, but
yeah, it's crazy though. I know there were a few other ride closing announcements, but they haven't happened yet, so I'm not gonna report on them until they actually happen. But Steel Curtain has already closed, so yeah. Gyeongju World in South Korea, probably totally butchered that, has begun construction on their 2021 coaster, and it appears that they will receive a Rewind Racers clone, which is a Gerstlauer shuttle family coaster. We've already seen another one of these go to Australia, so looks like they're going to be getting these. Obviously not in the picture. I couldn't get a picture of it because it was only through forums and I couldn't get permission. But if you want to look at it, there's a link to pictures in the description.
Yeah, I rode Rewind Racers last month just for fun. My friend needed the credit, and it's a fun little ride. I think it's a good fit for Tianjin World, and I'm glad they're getting it. And I hope to check out this park if I go to South Korea next year, assuming the country opens. If not, whenever I get to Korea, I definitely want to check out this park.
Yeah, they have a few rides there that are certainly interesting. So good to see that they're getting a family coaster here, and a good one. Next we have, and actually I should shout out JW Coaster Picks. I have his link in the description. I'll actually plug it in the chat real quick because he was nice enough to actually let me use his pictures for this new segment because I asked him for it. But basically, he took pictures at the Intermountain Lift steel fabrication plant in Utah and saw that there was yellow Premier Skyrocket 2 track. We have no idea where it's going. And there was also brown track spotted that we don't really know what it's for. There's been some speculation it was for the Donkey Kong coaster, but we really have no idea what it's for. But that was something that came up, I believe, last week. So, yeah, interesting.
I'm the last person you should ask if you want to know like where this is going to go. I saw like this and I was like, what? There's another park getting a Skyrocket? I mean, that's cool, though. I look forward to seeing who gets it. There's many parks that could use a Skyrocket too. There's also a lot of parks that don't need a Skyrocket too that might get it. I don't know. We'll see.
My guess is it's probably almost definitely it's going to be an international park. I just don't really see a U.S. park getting it.
I agree. I'm kind of with you there, yeah.
And then also, I mean, technically this Skyrocket 2 track isn't confirmed to be a Skyrocket 2, but I mean, like, come on, just look at it. It's a Skyrocket 2. So that was seen this week. And speaking of things that were spotted, this is not the track that was spotted. I can get a picture of it, but I have a link to it if you want to see it. Roller coaster track that appears to be for a Zyklon coaster has been spotted at Indiana Beach, indicating that this may be their hinted at 2022 edition from several months back. And this is actually rumored to be Python at Coney Island in Ohio, which was a Zyklon that operated there until 2019. So interesting if this ends up being the Indiana Beach coaster after Chimera, or I guess Dreer Looping, whatever they call it. So yeah.
Ever since Gene Staples bought this park, they have been rapidly growing, adding new rides, park improvements, retrackings. They are under really good management.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for Indiana Beach and the other two parks they got, Clementon Park and Fantasy Island, which will be reopening next year. So, or I guess now it's going to be Niagara Falls Amusement Park, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
But yeah. Next, we have Steel Type-In at Dreamworld Australia. It has begun testing. So we got to see some test runs this week. It has completed its entire layout. There was a POV that was hard to watch because it wasn't mounted. But that also came out. But this coaster looks to be on track for a late 2021 opening, which is good.
I'm excited to see how the spinning car on this rides. I think that's going to be so much fun. I will say, though, I'm a bit disappointed in that park for removing two really unique coasters. One is okay, like one is understandable, but two in a row is pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, that was surprising. That I wasn't surprised for Tower of Terror. I was surprised for that they would remove the Skyloop after like only 10 years of operation. So
yeah, or really, I was just surprised they were removing the Skyloop so soon after Tower of Terror.
Yeah. And it seems to still be in working condition because they're like listing it for sale. So, I mean, I assume someone else is just going to pick it up and it's going to operate somewhere else, which is also really strange.
I really hope so. Those look really cool.
Yeah. So there's your Steel Type-In news and Dreamworld in general. We also got a POV for All Speeds. This is Tehran. I couldn't get a picture of All Speeds, but we just had to use the one of Tehran. It's a clone of Tehran anyways. A POV came out for the ride. which will be located at Chengdu Sunac Land in China. I don't believe the coaster is opened, but a POV has come out, and I have a link to it in the description. So
Yeah, that ride looks so cool because you'll notice there's some profiling that's very different from Terran. It's the same overall layout, but some of the transitions and some of the shaping of some of these elements are just different, and it's so interesting to see. It's kind of like the Hulk to
Decepticoaster.
Decepticoaster, yeah, the
Oh
Hulk to
wow,
Decepticoaster differences. It looks like that, so it's pretty cool.
interesting. Yeah, it looks like a fun ride for sure. I mean, if you have to compare the two, I think Tehran will probably just always be better because it just had like probably a lot more of a budget when it came to scenery. But they actually did
Definitely.
a good job, a pretty solid job over there
Oh yeah, the
in
theming over there looks
China.
good
It looks
too.
solid. Yeah,
But yeah, Terran definitely seems to be more rapid fire from some what I can tell.
yeah, more rapid fire and the scenery. I would say it's just hard to compare the two. But the other one over at Chengdu Sunac Lane also looks pretty nice.
Yeah,
So
All Speeds looks awesome for sure.
next bit of news we have is This Is How We Roll will be released via Vimeo on October 8th. This is the Coaster Studios documentary. I have the link to the where you can order it if you want or pre-order it in a description. I'm very excited to watch it. I haven't purchased this yet, just in case like this somehow gets released onto via Amazon or something like that. I don't think it will. It doesn't sound like it, but just in case, I'll just wait until closer to the actual release date. But I'm excited to watch it, and I know a lot of hard work has gone into this. And also, yes, I did get permission to use this poster. I did ask for it, so not
Yeah,
gonna
I
have any issues
pre-ordered
there.
too. I'm excited to watch this. I'm gonna have my stepdad watch it with me because he's kind of a coaster nerd too. He knows a lot about coasters.
That's awesome. I like it. I think, yeah, as both of us said, we're very excited. So can't wait for this to come out. And after a very long news segment, this is the last thing I have to say. I just have some channel announcements. If you haven't yet, follow my Twitter. I have it in the description. I'm actually going to be more active on there, or I will try to be. I'm going to be posting some news on there. So if you just want to see it before I do it on the streams, or I'll probably post some things that also won't be on the streams, you can go there. And then also, I want to give a shout out to my younger brother's Lego stop motion channel. He actually placed sixth in a competition on YouTube with 3 rounds and over 120 participants that had to do with Lego stop motion. So his channel is called Gilgy. I also have it in the description. And if you are into animation and stop motion, not sure how many people are going to be, but if you want to check out his channel, make sure to check it out. It's also in the description. I just put it in the chat. So yeah, that'll be pretty much everything for the news. Like I said, long segment this week. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So with that being said, we're gonna do the first Q&A, which will lead into the quiz. So while you're asking your guys' questions, you guys can also get logged on to the quiz. So that's gonna be how that's gonna work.
Sweet, let's get some questions rolling in.
I forgot to ask. Did you have any like last thoughts? I guess for the just
Oh no, I'm good. Yeah, you got all my thoughts from the news. There's a lot of news, so it's pretty
yeah,
interesting.
that was probably like the most I've ever had. So
Oh really?
it probably was. Yeah, actually, it didn't go as long. I mean, it sort of did, but it could have gone longer. Just all things considered. Let's see.
I see the "Have you ever been stung by a bee on a coaster" question already. I know that's like a reoccurring theme in
Yes.
these streams.
Yes.
No, I've not been stung by a bee on a roller coaster.
That's good. And I have still not. I went to Disneyland since the last time I did a stream, but I did not get stung by a bee there. I almost got pooped on by a bird though, so that's not good.
I've almost gotten stung
Almost.
by a bee at Magic Mountain. They had like a nest issue by Twisted Colossus.
Oh,
It's fixed now
yikes.
though.
That good thing it's fixed now. That would be bad if it wasn't. Let's see. Do we think Silver Bullet at Knott's will get a repaint? It is it really in that dire
It
need of one?
No, I don't think so. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think it's all right. I mean, if you want to talk about coasters that could use a repaint, I think Accelerator would be higher on the bucket list. if you wanted to make it the like old pink that it once was. Um, let's see what else. Let's see. If you have any like questions you see that you want me to get to specifically, Mark, you can just tell me.
Yeah.
Magnum or X2? I just saw that come up.
X2
X2.
easily for me. I
Yeah.
actually I'm not a huge Magnum fan like a lot of people. I kind of
Same.
find it overrated. I love the return run of Hills. I think it's great. Rest of the ride does not impress me that much. But X2 is a friggin' I don't even know how to describe X2. You need to ride X2 if you haven't already. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I would have to agree. X2 is my number two coaster I've ever ridden.
Oh
Magnum
wow.
doesn't even crack my top 30, so
Yikes. I mean,
yeah.
hey, X2 number 2, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Top three bucket list coasters. Man, I haven't thought about this in a
Oh,
while.
top 3 bucket list.
Yeah.
Man, I made a Q&A video a while back and I got this question and I had to like write it down because I didn't even know off the top of my head. Oh man. I don't even know my number 1 to be honest.
I have
Oh, you
my
know what? You
top
know what?
two.
Zadra. Zadra is up there for sure. I think that's the one RMC that has potential to be better than Steel Vengeance for sure.
All right, I think I got it. I think my number three, I'm gonna go with Zadra as well, but as my three. My two is actually gonna be Pantheon. I'm super hyped for that ride. I think it looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Edge and Ica would be my one because it's X2 on steroids.
Yeah,
So
Edge and okay, you know what? I'm
or
with you
Edge and
there.
Ica or Dynaconda,
Edge and Ike and
whatever.
Dinoconda are number 1 for me. Closely behind it, Zadra, and I hate to say it, but Iron Gwazi it's going to be kick ass. Like you
Yeah,
need to get ready for Iron Gwazi. It's
it's
going to
gonna
be
be really
insane.
good. Yeah. What was one of your hardest decisions for your recent top 50 ranking? This is for you.
Oh man, I don't really know if I have any specific things, but when you have that many roller coasters that you just literally love so much, especially in the top 25 was more difficult to rank than top 50 because top 25 is like these are the best of the best rides, and to sort them out very specifically is just super challenging. Finding a placement for, I will say, Stunt Pilot and comparing it to the other RMC Raptors is a bit tricky for me.
Ooh, yeah.
I settled on putting Stunt Pilot about 4 spots lower because it's still one of the craziest rides I've ever been on, but it's not as crazy as the prototypes. So that was one of the difficult decisions I had.
Yeah, I actually just watched both parts this morning. I've had a busy
Nice.
week. So but I had time to check that out. Yeah, that was interesting. You had it separated, you had Stunt Pilot and the Raptors separated by like 4 spots, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, at
or
that point, all the coasters are so crunched up to the
yeah,
point where it's not actually as drastic. Like 4 spots seems like a pretty big gap, but it's really not when you get to the top 25.
yeah. Pooped by a bird should be the new frequent question. Oh God, someone's gonna actually make that a question. That was because, like I said earlier, I almost got pooped on by a bird at Disneyland. Almost. um, should there be a McDonald's themed coaster? There probably will be one
Wonder
day.
Woman
I mean,
already.
yeah,
We already
Wonder
have
Woman,
Wonder Woman.
but yeah.
We don't need
uh,
another McDonald's coaster, guys.
well, I think Six Flags Magic Mountain might have something to say about that.
This is going to be our second McDonald's RMC Raptor.
Yes,
What are the odds?
they should actually get a sponsor. That would be worth it. That'd be cool to see. Um, let's see.
Yeah.
When Oh wait, do you have one that you want to see? You want to
This
answer?
guy asked me what my thoughts were on Busch Gardens Williamsburg because I got to go this summer. Um, I love that park. It's beautiful, and I'd actually slightly take it over the Tampa park. I just really like the European theming. The African theming in Tampa is also obviously great, and yeah, I just think the Williamsburg. Both parks are great, obviously, but the Williamsburg Park is just so well taken care of. Even in the pre-COVID world, it's doing really well in terms of operations, other than Pantheon. But I love the lineup. I love all the theming. The areas are great. Yeah, it's an awesome park.
both parks are super high on my bucket list, so can't go wrong with either one, I don't think.
No.
But let's see. This is such a strange question. What is the weirdest smelling park you've been to? That is like
Oh my gosh, what kind of question is that? I don't know how to answer that.
there's two somehow that stick out, but one of them was just like a weird experience, and the other was like it was the only time I've been. So I don't know. Adventure Dome, the one time I went several years ago, like in 2012, there was like a weird smell to it.
You're onto something. You know what? Adventure Dome is my pick too. Something about indoor parks sometimes. And Adventure Dome is the most noticeably smelling indoor park. It has a distinct smell to it. Not bad, not good. It's just there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then Magic Mountain, not during every visit, but there were some visits where there were specific spots. I don't know if there was like a sewage issue or something. I'm really not sure, but there was some spots where it smelled like off, I would say. But that hasn't been an issue for a while. But I
No, it
noticed it
hasn't.
on
But
one of the
I know what you're
visits.
talking about because I've been going like every year for multiple times a year, and definitely like I want to say a year or two back there was like a sewage issue there. It seems to be
Oh,
resolved.
really? Wow.
Yeah.
Dang, that's not good. Hopefully if they haven't figured it out already, they get on that. Let's see. Oh, do you think Velocicoaster would still rank in your top 25 if it had no theming?
I think no. I think it would have still been top 50. Layout is impeccable, and it's one of the things that makes Velocicoaster so damn good. But you can't have Velocicoaster without the theming. That's what makes that ride a full package. And I mean, the theming is incredible. You have the queue line, you have the Raptor paddock in the first half, which is super immersive. You obviously have the Velociraptor animatronics in the queue line, as I said, and it all just pairs together so well. And you have the theming on the trains. The trains look amazing. I love that ride. Like everything about it is so good.
Yeah, I don't want to say this too much, but it's another ride that's very high on my bucket list. So
Yeah. No, it should
um,
be. It should be. It's
yeah,
really good.
I want to get out to Florida as soon as I can. Well, not as soon. Well, after like the 2022 coasters open. But yeah, I really want to go there for sure. Have you ever gotten sick on a coaster? Also a recurring question.
I don't. No, I don't think so.
That's good.
Um, for some reason, last year, um, I would ride like tame rides and get like a little stomachy feeling. So weird. But other than that, no, I've never thrown up on a coaster. Nothing like that. I've never gotten like actually sick.
I've never thrown up on a coaster or any ride. There's been a few where I've thrown up afterwards, but it hasn't happened in a while. Um, let's see. Most anticipated coasters in America for 2022. I'll just go with like one if I can do that, so it doesn't go super long. Pantheon. I've mentioned it, but if I had to pick one outside of that, then honestly, we don't know much about it. But I'm gonna go with this Fun Spot RMC. I'm really curious to see
Yeah.
what
Okay.
that
So
layout entails. Yeah.
my answer would have been Iron Gwazi, but if we're talking about strictly 2022 editions that weren't delayed or anything, Fun Spot RMC. I mean, that guys, this is going to be the best coaster in Georgia. Like this is Fun
Yeah.
Spot building the best coaster in Georgia. Unbelievable. Can't believe it.
A souped up family entertainment center building the best coaster in the
Fun
state.
Spot Atlanta looks pretty bad too. I don't know how they're doing it.
I've never been. I will go there at some point. I have family in Atlanta. I somehow haven't been to over Georgia yet, which is shocking, but I will get there. Let's see. What else? Like I said, Mark, if there's any specific ones you want me to get to, you can tell
Okay.
me.
So Imperial Coaster said, "What do you think about Gene Staples getting Clementon Park?" And then History and Leisure followed by saying maybe he'll get Hellcat retracked. So actually, Hellcat has been retracked and actually tested earlier
Yes.
this year. So Hellcat will be opening hopefully by opening day 2022. It will be open next year, though. Let me just say it will be open next year. They're doing a limited rides package right now. I believe their smaller of the two coasters, aka their kiddie coaster, is open as of right now. So the park is back. Really happy to see it. Even I've never been. I don't know how good the park actually is, but it's under good management now. I'm definitely going to be there in 2022 to check out Hellcat. I really want that credit. It's an SNS Woody and it's massive, and Alan Schilke designed it, so it looks cool.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be a great ride now that it's retracked, because before it was quite brutal from what I had heard.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. What color do we want Phantom's Revenge to be?
Purple.
Yeah, I'm
He
also
does.
going purple. I didn't put that in the news because I'm waiting until we actually get like a official color. So, but yeah, purple all the way.
The blue, I mean, the teal also looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
No, but the purple is so different. I really want to see that happen. And it will. I think it will. The vote
Yeah,
is
it's like almost
for purple
guaranteed
right
gonna
now, right?
happen.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm mad about is if you saw the like part of the track they painted, there was also this blue that I thought looked really nice, and they didn't put it as an option. Like they had the teal, they had the purple, and they had the blue, and I'm like, I think I might have went with the blue. It would have been tough, but it looked really
They're
nice.
both. Either choice is going to look amazing. I mean, literally, Phantom's Revenge is a beautiful ride to watch. So I'm excited about it nonetheless.
For sure. Yeah, it's gonna be really good. We'll answer, I think, 2 to 3 more questions, then move on to the quiz. There will be 2 more Q&A sessions, so if you have a question that we didn't answer, you can ask it then. But I think we're gonna do that right now.
Oh, here we go. Do you think i305 could potentially overtake Steel Vengeance as your number one? I mentioned this in my top 25. I've never ridden Steel Vengeance with trims. If it trimmed, I don't mean to sound greedy. I do think it would have made the second half tamer, and still would probably be an amazing second half. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that if it's tamer, maybe it isn't the recipe for my number one coaster out of virtually 400. And so I definitely think that i305 could and maybe will overtake Steel Vengeance if I get a ride with trims. Because i305 to me is the closest coaster ever to overtake Steel Vengeance for me. Because that ride is just absurd. So intense.
Yeah, that's a ride. I love out of control feeling attractions and coasters, so i305 is very high on my bucket list. So, and I said I was gonna say it a lot, and I probably still am, but that's what happens when I've ridden 96 coasters. That's not bad, but
It's
just
okay to
not
have a lot of
everything.
bucket list coasters.
Yeah,
And
that's for sure. A lot to look forward to.
it's why we're coaster enthusiasts.
Yep. So like I said, probably we'll do 1 more question, I think.
Yeah.
And if you have another specific one you want to pick, you can go for it.
Let's see.
Or I can
Oh,
find one.
Silver Dollar City or Dollywood. That's a good one.
There we go.
Okay, I just got to both parks this year. Dollywood. So cave tour aside, because Dollywood doesn't have anything like that. If you compare just the 2 parks without the cave tour, I think Dollywood's actually slightly better. They're very different though, and I wasn't expecting that. Dollywood feels more modern almost, and Silver Dollar City. I mean, there's classic parts, but it feels more modern in terms of the theming. Silver Dollar is entirely like 1880s feel, very classy, and it's super cool. So like the theming is on par at both parks, but they're very different types of theming. So it's almost like what you just take what you prefer. But then Silver Dollar brings in the cave tour, which is the most amazing thing I've ever done in a theme park. And that to me puts it over Dollywood. Otherwise, they would be pretty much equal, or Dollywood would be slightly above. But the cave tour is unfathomably amazing. Like that is so cool. So I think Silver Dollar. Barely.
Yeah. I mean, just like for anyone who's going, do not skip out on. I believe it's called the Marble Cave Tour. Yeah,
it's so impressive.
I've heard about it. I haven't looked into it too much because I don't want to, but I've heard it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But that's definitely something that I want to do when I'm there. So it does look absolutely amazing. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the quiz. If you haven't joined yet, the quiz, you can still join. The pinned link will still be there, and also it'll show up on screen. But we're going to start right now. So starting in 3, 2, 1. And the first question is, Which coaster is faster, Time Traveler or Incredicoaster? Also, only 10 questions this week. I was pretty busy, so I had to shorten the quiz up a little bit. Um,
I'm not actually on the quiz, by the way, guys. I'm using a
yeah,
Chromebook for my school, and they have websites blocked, so I couldn't do it.
yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. Interesting.
Incredicoaster is the faster one, reaches a top speed of 55 miles per hour compared to Time Traveler's 50.3. Next question. How many inversions are on Monster at Adventureland?
Well, this one I know because I just read it.
Yep. Let's
Yeah, this ride's
see.
awesome.
Yeah, it looks quite a bit better than Hang Time, to be completely
Oh,
honest.
it's
So,
way better than Hang
yeah,
Time. It's way better. Yeah. And Hang Time's fun, but yep, 5. There you go.
5 inversions. 60% of you got it. Nice. 2 dive loops, a finish loop, an Immelman, and a corkscrew, or the inversions on the ride. Next question. Where did Comet at Great Escape first operate? What park did it first operate as?
I think I know this one, but I'm not totally sure.
Might be a little tricky, but we'll see. And the correct answer is Crystal
Okay, yeah,
Beach.
that's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yep. Operated for 41 years at the park before closing in
Nice.
1989 and being relocated, I believe, 5 years later. Next question. What year did Stealth at Thorpe Park first open? This is the Intamin Accelerator at Thorpe Park in the UK. So, yeah. And the correct answer for this one is 2006. So it actually opened after King Ka, believe it or not. 71% of you got that. Nice. But that is the correct answer there. Next question. What is the name of the coaster in this picture? 4 different options you could choose. The coaster in the picture, hopefully it's showing up well for you guys actually taking the quiz. Looks like it should be. So, and you also get a hint because the park, you can kind of see it if you have it zoomed in enough. But the correct answer is Freestyle. This actually used to be Skyrider at Canada's Wonderland, and they relocated it. So
This
fun
is in
fact.
Italy, right? That
Yes, it is Italy. Yep.
nice.
What park is Pitt special at? What is the
This is the
park?
weirdest Gerstlauer Infinity that's ever been built.
Yes, it
Easily.
is. Uh, just weird in pretty much every way imaginable. I don't understand this ride. Correct answer is Powerland in Finland. And
Nice.
almost
So
everyone got
many
it
of you guys
right.
got that.
Yeah. True or false? Santa Monica Pacific Park in Santa Monica is an independent park. True or false?
I know this one.
Alrighty. And I did go to this park for the first time this year. I was only able to ride the coaster, but it was actually pretty fun, so. Correct answer is actually false. It is operated by Premier Parks and is owned by EPR Properties. So, if you didn't know that, that is the correct that is like the ownership of Pacific Park. Next question. How many B&M floorless coasters currently exist?
Does this include the conversions?
Yes. Oh, yes. In the picture, I also showed Rougarou, so that should have
Oh, yeah.
hopefully helped. So,
Yeah.
yes, it also includes that, which also means that it would look different on RCDB because the correct answer is actually 16 because there's 13 stand-up coasters plus 3 stand-up conversions.
Yep.
So, yeah, that one was pretty tricky. Next one, how tall will Dr. Diabolical's cliffhanger be? What will be its height when it opens? I guess, man, for however long it operates. And the correct answer is 150 feet tall. 80% of you got it. Nice. I put 300 feet because when we did the reaction stream, someone joked about it being a giga dive, so I had to put it in. And the last question is, what year did Walt Disney Studios in Paris open? Not Disney's Hollywood Studios, but the park in Paris that goes by the name Walt Disney Studios. And the correct answer here is 2002. And that is going to wrap up the quiz. And it looks like Mr. Cola Roaster got in first place with a score of 56 points, followed by Single Rider Reek in second with 42 points, and Lindsay in third with 39 points with Coaster Roaster and Top Hat Coasters and Lil Phantom all trailing right behind. So great job to everyone who participated. And with that being said, we're going to move on to our next segment, which will be questions for the viewers. And our first one is going to be, what is your favorite or most anticipated ride in Southern California? And while the viewers are typing in the answers, you can give your answer, Mark.
Favorite ride or coaster?
You can go both. Yeah, either one.
Favorite ride is Rise of the Resistance, without question. That's one of the most amazing rides I've ever seen. X2 is my favorite coaster in Southern California. And I'm sure you can agree with that too.
Well, X2 is my favorite coaster. My favorite ride. This is kind of complicated. So if the studio tour at Universal Hollywood counts, even though yes, it has different segments, I would count that just because it's so unique compared to
that ride is
else
really cool. It's really cool.
So that would actually be my number one ride I've ever done, if that technically counts. And if not, then my favorite non-coaster would be Indiana Jones, which I actually do have over Rise. So, yeah, but Rise is also really fantastic, so I can't fault you there at all. But yeah, so let's see what you guys put in the chat.
Got a couple Twisted Colossuses.
Yeah, I could see that. Easily X2 for anticipated. Actually, shoot, I'm behind. A lot of them are in. Ghost Rider for best coaster. That's one of my favorites for sure. I have it above
Ghost Rider's
Twisted Colossus.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. Twisted Colossus is also awesome. I hope for you guys like who are out of state that you guys are able to get a dueling ride on it. It's still great even if you don't, but it's just a little harder when you're just so far away. Let's see. Twisted Colossus and Pirates of the Caribbean for Dark Ride. That's a classic.
Yeah, Pirates is great. I love Pirates.
Yeah. I appreciate it a lot more on my most recent visit. So and
the more you ride it, the
times.
more you seem to just be impressed by it because there's so much to look at on Pirates.
Absolutely. So that's a great ride for sure. Rise of the Resistance, I imagine we'll be getting a decent amount of those.
Yeah.
Favorite Ghost Rider most anticipated is X2. Let's see. Oh, a question came in. I guess. Shoot. Should we? I'll keep this one in mind. Mark, someone asked what editing software you use. Hold on to this for the next Q&A session if you want to answer. But yeah. So let's see. Every Six Flags Magic Mountain coaster for most anticipated. I mean, they have a lot of good ones, so I could see that. Medusa. So Medusa at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. I would assume then you've mostly done Northern California, so that's a pretty good floor list. I will say that it's one of my favorites. Let's see. X2 most anticipated. Someone said their most anticipated would be Radiator Springs Racers. That's also a really good ride.
Oh man, I love that ride. Yeah, good choice.
Yeah, that one's also awesome. That's a very good choice. Let's see what else. Okay. So most anticipated coaster in the world is Fury, but if you're talking about SoCal, Twisted Colossus. Although I guess we said SoCal, so. I saw some Medusas, so I guess it would be NorCal if it were that. Let's see what else we have. I think that's all of them. A lot of similar answers as expected, but I mean, even still, like, I mean, the best coasters in SoCal are the best rides are also some of the best in the world. So
I'm surprised we got no Indiana Jones Adventure, to be honest.
Yeah,
I would take that over X2.
I don't know.
I love my dark rides though. I love my dark rides.
Yeah, it's up there. It's one of my all-time favorite rides for sure, though. And then someone else said for SoCal, probably Full Throttle. Nice. It is a pretty unique ride, I guess, all things considered. So, and the hang time you get on that vertical loop is phenomenal. So, Love that ride. Um, and then so let's see. We'll go on to our next question, which is best food item or beverage you have had at a theme or amusement park. I don't know if I've actually asked this before. I don't believe I have. So, do you have a specific item that you really like?
Beverage is much easier than food offering. Beverage for me would by far be frozen butterbeer. That is the best thing I've ever had, like ever. Blue milk at the Disneyland is also great, and also Hollywood Studios as well. Blue milk is fantastic. That's my second place, and then I've had like the king size shake at Hershey. That's like third. So
Oh
I mean, there's some
God.
really good beverages that
Yeah,
are
Hershey. Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, food. I don't know. Food is a lot trickier, but you know, cinnamon bread is pretty legendary.
Food, it's kind of tough for me to pick, but beverages is also tough. My favorite in like Star Wars in the Galaxy's Edge would actually be the Meilu Run juice. I don't know, I just really like it.
Yeah, it's cool.
And yeah, I don't really know what I have to say for that, so I'm curious what your guys' answers are. Because I've had some good stuff, but not necessarily anything that blows everything else out of the water, if that makes sense, which is kind of why it's hard to pick. The fish and chips from Epcot.
That's
My
a good
brother would
one.
like
I haven't
that.
had it before, but I really want to try it.
Yeah, some of these I'm like, I bet maybe I'll ask just so I get some suggestions for some of these parks. So, cinnamon bread, you want to try it? I want to try it as well.
Fun
Super
fact, cinnamon
legendary.
bread at Silver Dollar City is better than cinnamon bread at Dollywood. So
Interesting.
keep that in mind. I haven't tried the
Huh.
Kentucky Kingdom one though.
If I had to guess, it probably would be like a step below, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I can see that.
Meatloaf stacker at Dollywood. Via Napoli pizza. I've heard of that at Epcot. And the Rano wrap. Oh yeah, Rano wraps are also
Rano
good.
wrap's
I
great.
love those. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's another good one. Had a great full meal at Lindy's at Silverwood. We'll keep that name in mind. I know you went Silverwood. I don't know.
What's Lindy's? Can you specify? I don't remember what that is. If you tell me, I might be able to remember, but I didn't eat in too many different places at Silverwood. We really just stuck to the pizza place because it was so affordable and so good.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong there. So
Hmm.
everything you had at BGW was good. And also, someone else said BGW food. I've heard they have phenomenal food. So
Oh yeah, Das Festhaus, which is in the Germany area, fantastic food from there at Busch Gardens.
pizza at Knoebels and Dollywood.
Hmm.
I've heard both. Actually, I don't know about pizza at Knoebels. I know Knoebels has a lot of good food. I've definitely heard
I've
the
tried
pizza at
pizza. The
Dollywood.
pizza at Knoebels is not going to blow you away. I mean, they might have multiple different pizza places at
That's
Knoebels, knowing that
true.
part. I've had pizza though, and the pizza at Knoebels is really good.
A lot of good options. I'm gonna go back to this chat later when I go to these parks and maybe like check out some of these places.
Yeah.
Let's see. You always appreciate a good churro. Can't go wrong with that. Good classic. Actually, Six Flags Mexico, they had some like filled churros. My mom
I
got one of
wanted
those and
to
I
try
tried
that
it.
so
Yeah,
bad.
those were good. Those were really good.
I just didn't want to eat too much crappy food and make myself feel ill, but that
Yeah.
looks so good.
Yeah, I wouldn't like if I were eating a churro, I'd have to take a long break from whatever like any extreme attractions is the only issue. So, let's see. What else? Skyline Chili at Kings Island. Haven't heard of it, but
I haven't been to Kings Island yet, but I'm keeping that in mind because no, I've definitely heard of Skyline Chili.
oh really?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind when I get to that park because everyone that goes seems to love that place. So
Huh. And I had no clue about it. That's cool.
that's the only place at Kings Island food wise that I've heard a lot about, and also they have blue ice cream that people talk about a lot.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah. I've heard that's really good. The pretzels at Busch Gardens Tampa wrapped in bacon. I'm not a pretzel guy, but I'm sure those who like it.
I don't know
will
if they
love
have the
that.
same thing at the other SeaWorld parks, but they have a pretzel at SeaWorld San Diego that has the sweet cream filling inside, and it is the best
Ooh.
pretzel I have ever had.
That sounds good.
I don't know if they have it at the other SeaWorld parks, but that's really good. So that's definitely up there, honestly, for my food.
Some Stamford Bridge clarified. Lindy's is a fancy turn of the century themed restaurant right next to the train station.
I
At
remember that
Silverwood.
now. Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't eat there, but I remember it, yeah.
Huh. I'll keep that in mind. The only thing is I just can't eat that much at a park is the other issue, so I have to eat kind of light is the only other issue with some of these places that are like full meals. Caesare's is the definitive pizza place at Knoebels from what you've heard. Nice. Actually, yeah, I've heard of that name. That makes sense. Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches at like whatever park they're at, assuming you don't go on a Sunday.
That's actually fair. Like, that's a legitimately fair option. Their sandwiches are so good.
They are.
The Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches.
I've never had it at a park because I think Cedar Point's the only park I've been to where they actually had one when I was there, and it was a Sunday, so I couldn't go.
Busch Gardens Snap is adding one too, and I'm kind of excited about it.
How are they gonna incorporate that though? If like, I mean, I don't know how the theming works, but it's an African themed park, and they're putting in a Chick-fil-A. It's an interesting thing.
Busch
I
Gardens
guess.
is an interesting park.
Yeah. Some people are saying they think they do have the pretzel you were talking about at.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend you get that if you see it at a SeaWorld park, because that stuff's so good.
Someone said Mythos at Islands of Adventure. I've heard of that place.
Okay, so I ate there. I got this some sort of pasta dish. Great food, but I paid $20 for probably 7 bites. It's the biggest ripoff at any theme park in the world for food that I've ever had. So I'm never going to eat at Mythos again. It's, again, like really good food itself. I just cannot believe I spent $20 for probably 7 bites. It's crazy.
That sounds like a
and that's not even an exaggeration. It might have even been less. It was so little. Like I could not believe that.
There was a resort I stayed at in Cancun, Mexico, where there was this restaurant that was really good in it, but yeah, it was like 4 or 5 bites, and it was ridiculously expensive. So it's like it's awesome, but like you hardly get anything. So
exactly.
Yeah.
No, Mythos is not just pricey. Mythos is like outrageously expensive. Don't
Sounds
eat
like
there.
it.
I mean, there's like a burger place right next to Deadly Do Rides. Or no, maybe it's by Popeyes, but by one of the water rides. And I thought that was low-key better than Mythos, just because, I mean, the value was so much better and the food was still good. I'd rather eat there. So that's my take.
They actually have Popeyes locations at parks. I was unaware of this. I've never seen one.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't remember ever seeing one. I've never even been to a Popeyes. I want to because I've heard it's great. But I wasn't even aware they had park locations. Yeah, maybe that would be my first ever attempt at trying it. That'd be cool. Pandora Restaurant at Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, again, I didn't eat there, but I know what you're talking about. My parents did, and they said it was really good.
Oh, they got boba like on their.
Oh yeah, no, they have like fruity versions of boba. That's so.
Oh, cool. That's awesome! Yeah, that sounds really good. That's on my bucket list now. Mm-hmm. Chicky and Pete's. I think I actually tried that once. I didn't care for it. I think it was the Cedar Point location.
It's pretty good, but it's not going to blow your mind.
Yeah. I know some people really love it though, so that's fair. Let's see what else there is. 3 Broomsticks. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it, to be honest. It looks cool, but yeah, I don't know. You have any thoughts on 3 Broomsticks? Have you been?
I've never even heard of it actually. What is it?
It's the restaurant in Hogsmeade. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, you know where I'm gonna be for food in Hogsmeade.
Yeah, the sad thing is I haven't had the butterbeer because I was like, well, I don't like I guess like the kind of butter. I don't know how you describe it, but I just don't like those drinks.
Okay, so I'm not the biggest fan of butterscotch. I'm not like the hugest fan of butterscotch. I think it's a little bit like too much for some people, but you need to try frozen butterbeer. It's insane. I don't know how they do that.
My brother got it, and I decided not to try it, which that was a mistake. But I can go there at some point. It's not that far away, so it's not
Yeah.
that big of a deal. But man, some of these places, they sound great. So I'll definitely have to check some of these places out.
I
I
see.
think that's...
This
Oh,
guy said I got crab fries in Ocean City, New Jersey. The boardwalks in New Jersey have some great food, and it's really affordable there too. Actually, on the
nice.
boardwalks, not stay outside of the actual like inside of the parks. Like for example, where Mohr's is, don't get food inside Mohr's Piers. Get food outside of Mohr's Piers on the boardwalk, and it's so much cheaper, and the food is great.
That sounds
Everywhere, like
good.
on the New Jersey boardwalks, food is great. Yeah.
That's good to hear. I mean, I don't know how similar it is, like, vibe-wise, but I know Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, there's some restaurants nearby, and some people really like the ones that are nearby the boardwalk, so that's cool to hear. I think that's all of them, if I'm correct. So I think we're going to move on to the last question, which is favorite indoor roller coaster. Mark, what's yours?
Oh man. Okay. Sandy's Blasting Bronco is mine. I have it slightly
Oh, nice.
above Shellraiser. I'm so glad that was even open in the first place because that's closed a lot. But that ride is so much fun. It's not that rough. It's just kind of shaking you around, but it's not enough to deteriorate the ride experience for me. I can still look past it. The launches are crazy, but the backwards launch, if you were in the front or really anywhere on the train, but the backwards launch is the best backwards launch maybe in the world. The
It's the
acceleration.
fastest acceleration, I believe, for backwards.
Oh yeah, I think it's one of the fastest accelerating LSM launches. Period. Right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. It's crazy
Yeah, that's
fast.
crazy. And then the inversions, like I cannot believe the whip you get on some of those inversions. So I fell in love with that ride. I rode it like 6 times in 2 hours. So yeah, I love Sandy's.
That's awesome.
Oh, you know what? Space Mountain's really good too. I still have Sandy's above it, but I love Space Mountain at Disneyland and Magic Kingdom. They're both so good.
Space Mountain at Disneyland is my favorite. It somehow has a spot in my top 20. So
I respect that because I went to Disneyland last month and I rode Space Mountain 12 times that day. If you do the
nice.
single rider line, you can just keep on lapping it. And that ride is amazing.
I thought I was
so
doing
good.
good with 6 rides, but holy cow, you did
Yeah,
12.
dude, no, I had to take breaks though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a little crazy. It's actually like fairly intense.
Yeah, especially like I like backward is my favorite when it's a full train, so which it was when I was there because the last time anyways. So it only wasn't the other time because of the COVID restrictions and they were spacing out like
Right.
the rows and it just wasn't running as fast. But no, it's incredible. Let's see what you guys have to say. Space Mountain, Rock and Roller Coaster. That one I'm super excited to do whenever I get the opportunity. Seems like a lot of fun.
I was actually a bit disappointed by Rock and Roller Coaster.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't think it was very good because it was a little like it was really forceless, even more so than the Flight of Fears.
Oh,
The
wow.
music wasn't loud enough too. Maybe that was just a thing during my ride, so you couldn't really appreciate the music. It feels kind of short. Also, I don't know. It was fun, but I don't really think I'd make it a point to do it again. Especially because
fair.
Disney lines can get pretty long.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially at that park because they don't have a ton of attractions. So
Hmm.
not a whole lot of rides to split up the lines. Space Mountain Verbolten as well. Walking Dead the ride at Thorpe Park. You guys over there in the UK don't exactly have a ton when it comes to indoor coasters. That one seems interesting for sure because it was a family indoor coaster that they rethemed to The Walking Dead, if I'm correct. So that's kind of interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard
Uh,
too much about that.
yeah, it's such a interesting ride. I don't know if it's one I'm super interested in doing, but it's just kind of a weird one. I see a lot of Space Mountain at Magic Kingdom. I really want to do that, but I don't know if I'll. The soundtrack's kind of a big deal for me, and it's not on board for that ride, so I don't know how I feel about that.
The Magic
Um,
Kingdom one rides so different from the Disneyland one.
yeah,
That
I've
one feels
heard.
more like an indoor Matterhorn. It's very bizarre. I love it though.
Wow. Yeah, it looks fun. I mean, I haven't seen too much from it, but I've heard it's really fun, so I want to do it for sure. Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts is your favorite? That's an interesting one because I haven't done it, but I've heard it's more like dark ride than coaster, but there's some segments, so it's
Yeah, I
interesting.
haven't been on that either.
Wow. Mummy was closed? Dang, that's tough. I've heard that one's really fun.
I've only ridden Mummy in Hollywood, but it's fun. I think the Orlando one's much better though.
Yeah, I've heard it's a lot better. Hollywood's fine, like it's solid, but I don't know. It's not my favorite thing in the world.
Hmm.
Speaking of Revenge of the Mummy, both Hollywood and Florida, that's respectable. It's still a fun ride. It's just not my favorite thing. The Hollywood version, I haven't done Orlando, but I'm excited to do it whenever I can. A lot more Space Mountain, Laugh Track. Oh yeah, Laugh Track. It's a solid one. It definitely makes a good use of like the lights and stuff. Like the light up like
Yeah, Laugh Track is cute. Verbolten
yeah.
though, I love Verbolten. Oh my god, that ride is. I don't really count that though because most of it is outdoors.
Yeah.
But I still love that ride so much.
Yeah. That ride, it's yeah, it looks just so cool. So I can see that for sure.
And it has the
Arth
best drop track I've been on.
Oh nice. Although I hadn't seen a POV, so I mean I already knew I had a
Oh,
drop
yeah,
track, but yeah. I'm
that's
just
bad.
kidding. I'm kidding. Um let's see. Arthur is mostly indoors, and that's amazing. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's at Alton Town, not Alton. No, my
I think
bad.
it's at
Europa Park. It's at
Arthur
Europa.
looks really cool. It
Yeah.
looks like it's really well themed.
Yeah, that seems like a really cool ride. That makes me so curious for the Jurassic Park coaster or Jurassic World coaster they're getting in Universal Beijing because it's like the exact same model. So that'll be really interesting to see. Blazing Fury, interesting. I don't know hardly anything about it,
That's a really fun one too.
but that seems pretty cool. Runaway Mountain at Six Flags Over Texas. Another one
Man,
that I've certainly heard about, but I
people
don't
aren't showing
know
love to
much.
Canyon Blaster at the Adventure Dome. That ride is amazing. No one talks about that ride.
I don't know that many people have ridden it. It's kind of a hard one to get to if you're not from the West Coast. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, you can't really road trip. You can't really
yeah.
do that on a coaster road trip. But for those of you who have ridden Canyon Blaster, like that is such a good arrow looper.
Sad
Firing the
thing,
ball. Yeah.
sad thing is when I went to Adventure Dome, I was not a coaster enthusiast and I was too young. I was too small
Oh,
to do
bummer.
Canyon Blasters, so I didn't do it. It was sad. Flight of Fear. What other ones came up? For Bolton again. Um, How to Train Your Dragon also. I didn't know that there. Oh, inverted dark ride system, but I don't know if that's a powered coaster. But uh, I've heard of that one for sure, but I don't know too much about it otherwise. But yeah, I think that's all of them. Oh, I saw Miniwa at Plone. I think that's the park that has the El Toro GCI.
Hmm.
Strangest indoor coaster. I'll have to look into that one. Look at a POV or something that I have no clue what that is. So yeah. Well, I guess we'll move on to the next thing, which will be if that's fine with you, Mark. If
Yeah,
that's all good.
for sure.
Alrighty. We'll move on to the YouTube shoutouts. These are for channels who have recently reached or are very close to milestones. If that being said, and you can actually check out all these channels. I have their links in the description below. So if you want to check them out, make sure to do that. But our first shout out goes to the Coaster Scoop. He has reached 1,000 subscribers. Great footage off ride, and he has great POVs as well. He had the really good drone footage of Pantheon. If anyone has seen that, he did that, so that was really cool. Great channel, and just like looking at the footage, it looks so professional. It's just crazy that it took him this long to reach 1,000 subs, but awesome channel for sure. Next channel I have is Airtime Productions, who has also reached 1,000 subs. Pretty consistent with their content, and I know a longtime viewer of Coaster Time, so I'd just like to say congratulations to you, and I hope that you're able to grow from here on out. So congratulations to Airtime Productions. Definitely make sure to check them out if you haven't already. Next we have Cedar Flags, recently reached 7,000 subscribers. I saw on Instagram, and I think his YouTube channel, he changed his logo to the Wicked Twister, which was cool before it got removed. So that was a nice tribute. But also another channel with a lot of just very consistent in content and make some interesting videos for sure, including some more recently having to do with Cedar Point. So good job there on reaching 7,000 subs. Next, we have Great American Coasters, who has reached 8,000 subs recently. Also another channel that is pretty consistent. There's a video they did I wanted to highlight. I feel like there was one that I wanted to mention that he did recently, or I watched recently. I don't remember what it was. But he has a lot of good content, so make sure to check him out if you haven't already. And then another channel I have to shout out is Theme Park Blitz. This is an up-and-coming channel, just reached 1,000 subs. They actually just moved to South Korea, so they're going to be doing content from South Korea, which is going to be super unique. Hardly anyone has been up to this point who really documents this stuff on YouTube. So
That's pretty cool, yeah.
It's awesome. I know that the owner, the two, I guess, owners of the channel just went to Everland, so that's really cool. Can't wait to see some content from them, and make sure to check them out if you want to see some South Korean coaster content, which should be coming soon. They just moved there recently, though, so it may be a little bit. But yeah. Next, we have National Coasters, recently reached 5,000 subscribers. A lot of great videos on some pretty obscure coasters, so definitely make sure to check them out. And they have been growing quite rapidly, I will say. So definitely another channel that I would say is underrated and that you should check out. The next channel I have is the Coaster Josh, who is near 4,000 subs, makes a lot of theory videos. Hasn't uploaded as much recently, but schedules that sometimes just happen. Still great content for sure, and he is very close to 4,000 subs. Speaking of channels that are close to their milestones, Coaster Roaster, who is watching, is near 2,000 subs, former guest on Coaster Time, so congratulations, I see you in the chat. But he is near 2,000 subs. Another channel that has a lot of great content, did a great series on the roller coasters in China a while back, the wooden coasters specifically, and he's got a lot of other great content, so make sure to check him out. And then Western New York Coasters is near 5,000 subs, another previous guest, and another great channel that is also very consistent, does vlogs, and covers like the parks kind of near the Western New York area, so make sure to check him out as well. So those are all the YouTube shoutouts. Mark, do you have anything you want to say?
You got all the channels. I was going to mention National Coasters, by the way. He's one of my good friends. He's going to get pissed if I don't mention him. So yeah, he's actually the guy who invited me out to Georgia next week. So we go on a lot of trips together, and so he started his channel pretty recently, and he's just been rapidly growing. Also, he has like a big fan base on Instagram that helped with that.
Nice.
But yeah, he's a great guy. So definitely go check out his channel if you haven't already.
Absolutely. Like I said, all these channels, you can find them in the description. So if you want to check them out, either I guess after the stream, or if you're watching this after the stream has ended right now, you can absolutely make sure, absolutely do that. I would highly recommend all these channels. And for the last few shout outs I have to give, we have the guest winners. This is something I'm doing on Instagram where I give my viewers the opportunity to try to guess who the guest is going to be. And we had three channels who were able to guess correctly. We have Christian from Theme Park Horizons, a previous guest. He guessed that you, Mark, were going to be on here. Same thing with Mr. Cola Roaster and Theme Park Guide Productions. They all guessed you correctly. So congratulations to
pretty
all of
cool.
them.
Did you give them hints or something?
I gave a pretty massive hint saying that they were from California. That narrows it down quite a bit. Still got quite a bit of different responses. And I do limit the amount of times you can answer. because then it would be probably too easy. But no, so yeah, here are the 3 channels, like I said, and their links are
Nice.
also in the description. So make sure to check them out as well. So with that being said, we're gonna move on to our second Q&A session. So if you have any new questions or any questions we didn't answer earlier, make sure to ask them right now. And do you have any final thoughts? I kind of took over there
No,
accidentally.
yeah, you're good. No final thoughts. Ready to answer some questions. Oh yeah, there was the what editing software?
Yes. Good.
Yeah, so
Good.
I just guys, you want me to be real? I just use iMovie. I use it on my phone, or I'll use it on a MacBook. Like iMovie does the job. I don't get the hate for it. It's fine.
Yeah, it works pretty well.
Especially too when I'm traveling. When I'm traveling and I
Yeah.
don't have a computer. I mean, iMovie on the computer is gonna be a lot better. But when I'm traveling, I can just like whip up a vlog in iMovie. I know Josiah uses iMovie too, National Coasters. It does the job. Like it gets hate for no reason. So I think it's fine.
I used it for over a year, but only the
Yeah.
version on the phone because I didn't have a newer Mac, so I had to go
Yeah.
completely off that, and I was created some inconveniences. But no, it works, so that's cool to hear for sure. Let's see what questions have come up. I don't know. What's your favorite coaster and why is it Tumbleweed Adventure Park USA? I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
sure.
Tumbleweed is so intense. Have you heard of that ride?
I don't even know what this thing is.
Okay, it's basically a Myler kiddie coaster in Maryland in the middle of nowhere.
Oh my god.
It's the stupidest ride I've ever been on. There was no operator there, so we had to get an operator to come and operate the ride for us.
Oh wow.
So funny, but it's actually a fine ride.
That's so weird. Like it's like Myler as in ENF Myler or like the other Myler manufacturer that's like hard.
It's Myler manufacturer. Aren't they the
Oh,
same
wow.
though? I actually don't know.
I think there is actually a difference, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. On RCDB there's 2 different ones, so I don't know if that is accurate. Let's see. What else? What other questions? Wooden Warrior, what is your opinion on it?
I know why you're asking that. It's because of the Wooden Warrior comments on my videos from Sam all the time.
Oh
In
yeah.
all seriousness, though, if you want to know my thoughts on Wooden Warrior, it's like actually really good. I mean, I only got one ride on it. It was in the back, and oh wait, you know what? I think it was in the front, but nonetheless, it's so fun. For a family coaster, you get some wicked airtime on that thing. It's a really good ride.
Yeah, it looks so fun for those Gravity Group family coasters, especially that and Oscar's Wacky Taxi looks so fun. So
Oh man, I want to ride the one in New Hampshire, Rorosaurus. That one's
Rorosaurus.
so
Okay, yeah, that one looks
crazy.
like the best one. Yeah,
Yeah,
of
it
the family
does.
style ones. Yeah, that looks like
At least
really
in the
good.
U.S. Yeah, it looks really fun.
Yeah, that's true. That looks really good. Let's see. Most underrated and overrated coaster in California. That's so
Oh
hard.
man.
I'm trying to go off one that I can
Okay.
like, get immediately, but I'm having a hard time.
Underrated. Honestly, though, Superman and Scream get so much unnecessary hate. They don't do much in the lineup, but they're just fine rides. They don't deserve hate. Superman, make sure you ride in the front though. If you do that, the speed feels like the other Stratas. Scream, it's not as rough as people make it out to be, in my opinion. I've ridden it so many times, and it's never bothered me.
I need to get back on those 2. My last few rides on both were not exactly amazing, but I know Superman has been running a lot better ever since it reopened, so really want to get back on that. Scream, I'm not the biggest fan of, but certainly Superman, I could see that. I don't know that I have a pick here for most underrated or overrated because I'm pretty like, I don't really think I have any. I think there's actually, you know what? Giant Dipper at Santa Cruz like just doesn't really get talked about much because it's hard to get to. So I'd put that as underrated.
That looks fun.
It's pretty good. Overrated, I'm
Maybe.
still
Oh, you know
struggling on
what?
that.
Overrated, maybe Electric Eel. I do not like Skyrocket 2s.
Oh
So,
really? I love
I don't. Really? Yeah,
I like Superman. I've only done Superman Ultimate Flight, but I love that ride.
I've done some with lap bar, some with comfort colors. The lap bar ones are obviously better, but the comfort color ones are also just meh. It's like repetitive the whole time. I don't really love hang time also. So when you have the over the shoulders that are just kind of there and you're getting hang time and you're pressing against it, I don't know. It's not my favorite. The positives are pretty good though.
My overrated pick a few years ago would have been Hang Time because whenever it opened, it was like crazy the praise it was getting. But now I think it's kind of mellowed out, so I can't really say that anymore.
I think as
So I
people
think
have ridden hang time, they've started to develop a more accurate opinion and representation of the actual ride experience.
yeah, the first time I rode it, I'm like, I mean, it was fun, but is this like really a top five coaster in California, like some people are saying it
I was
is?
just kind of ignoring all of the praise it was getting. I liked it. It's grown on me though, I have to admit. Like hang time's really enjoyable. It's my third
It's a
favorite
fun ride.
coaster in the park. I still
Agreed.
definitely prefer other Gerslauers in America, but it's fun.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see, what other questions have come in? Let's see. Some of these I think are overflowing from the what is it? The last segment we did. So I'm trying to see what there is exactly. What's your thoughts on Griffin and Loch Ness Monster? That was one I just saw.
Oh, both are really fun. Griffin I love because I love dive coasters with hard restraints. And Loch Ness Monster is one of the best aero loopers around. It's super well maintained, very smooth for its age. And I love the interlocking loops. The layout is super unique. I love how you have like a triple helix in the darkness. It's so bizarre. And you're not going fast through it. It's just there. It's so weird. But yeah, both are really fun.
Yeah, Loch Ness. Gotta experience it just for. I mean, it's a great ride otherwise too, but the interlocking loops are definitely like like probably the most interesting part of it visually, at least.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Let's see what else we have. What else? Both of you, which one? Wooden Warrior, Kentucky Flyer, or Oscar's Wacky Taxi? I haven't ridden any of those, so.
I've only been on Wooden Warrior. It's really tough. All the family gravity groups in this country seem to be pretty on par with one another. Wacky Taxi seems like it's almost showed its age more, giving a bit more of an aggressive ride than those two, which is ironic
Really?
because it's at Sesame Place. Yeah, I had friends that went out there last year and they said it was like actually kind of a little rough, not in a bad way, just in a noticeable aggressive way. And also that it stays low to the ground a lot, unlike the other two, which has camelbacks and stuff that give good floater airtime. Wacky Taxi's more rapid succession. I don't know. Kentucky Flyer looks to me like the weakest just slightly.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I'd say it's between Wacky Taxi and Wooden Warrior. Wooden Warrior is really smooth, which I like.
I think having not ridden any of them, I would take Wacky Taxi.
I think Wacky Taxi is my ultimate answer, yeah.
Yeah. But all three of them I hope to ride at some point. For sure. Let's see. What are the best type? Wait, dang it, I just lost it. It automatically scrolled down on me, of course, because StreamYard, that's like the one annoying thing it does. What are the best type of crackers?
Dude, saltine. Come on.
Oh, those are good.
They're
Yeah.
actually good.
I like goldfish. The thing is, I hardly ever
Oh,
have them
dude,
anymore.
okay.
Goldfish, but
Can
I
I
think
just
I
say,
have.
I'm going to settle this once and for all.
All right.
Cheez-Its have nothing on goldfish. Can I just say that? Cheez-Its
Yes.
literally have nothing on goldfish.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
I don't know why that's even an argument. People love Cheez-Its. I'm like, what? Cheez-Its are kind of bad. I don't.
Yeah, they're no goldfish. I 100% agree with that.
Goldfish for the win. Yeah, dude.
Yes.
For sure.
Would you say from a perspective which is better, Condo or Skyrush?
I think Skyrush looks better.
Yeah, Skyrush. I'd say. Yeah. I mean, I've ridden Skyrush.
I've
so
ridden
I'm a little
Skyrush. I
biased,
haven't
but
been on Conda. I think Skyrush looks better because it's more intense. It looks crazier. Conda's more large scale elements, probably not
Yes.
as intense. I still think it looks excellent though.
the ending on Conda is kind of a thing that once we like saw what it actually looked like in real life, that kind of soured it for me because it didn't look nearly as
You know what
good as
I
it
was
did in the
disappointed with?
animated
I was
POV.
disappointed with the non-inverting Cobra roll. It
Oh
looks
yeah,
like it
that
runs very
also.
slowly.
Yeah,
Again, it still looks
absolutely.
great. I mean, I'm sure also it'll warm up over time, and it definitely needs that, I think. And it's odd because like Velocicoaster's hauling, you know? So
And
I
that
don't
was
know.
the one everyone was like kind of concerned with the pace,
Yeah,
like
and
how
then
good the pacing was gonna be.
that's been a
And
reoccurring theme. We saw that with Stunt Pilot too, and Jersey Devil's finally speeding up now. People are so worried about those rides, so it's a
I
reoccurring theme.
I can only hope the Jersey Devil clone we're getting a Magic Mountain, whether it's
Oh
extended or
man,
not.
I really
I mean,
hope.
it should have an easier time warming up because the weather is warmer, so that'll help out a little bit. Um, but yeah, most GP opinion we have.
What?
I
Um,
I
shoot.
mean, I do have
Oh,
Space
you know what?
Mountain.
I have a good one.
All right,
Most
go
GP
for it.
opinion I have. I don't know if this is exactly what you're asking, but it's an opinion I have that I think a lot of GP would kind of agree with. It's that
Okay.
Disneyland is the best park I've been to.
All right.
I have
Yeah.
Disneyland ranked at 1, and a lot of GP would probably say the same because they're GP.
I
No
mean,
explanation needed.
Disneyland might be my number one. It is very close. It's just hard for me to say because it's very different from like say a Hershey Park, which is currently my number one. Um, most GP opinion. I mean, I have Space Mountain ranked absurdly high. Like I'd rather ride it than like I enjoy it more than like a ride like Millennium Force, which is probably
Damn.
not super popular, but um yeah, and any B&M invert I've ridden, and so yeah, that might count, but honestly, that's I think even stretching it a little bit. Um, and I do not really care for dive coasters, so I can't put that one in. I just saw someone mention something for a dive coaster. You do like dive coasters, though, right, Mark?
Yeah, I like the ones with hard restraints a lot. I'm not the biggest fan of Valraven or Yukon Striker, but
Valorem is the only one I've done, so I didn't care for that.
mhm. And yeah, I'm kind of worried about Emperor because it has vests, but the layout on that
Ooh.
looks better than Valraven and Yukon, in my opinion.
It has the
Actually,
best looking layout out of the US ones, at least
yeah,
in my
I think
opinion,
so.
but yeah,
I
I've
really like Yukon Striker's first half, but I just don't like the restraints. People were saying they feel looser, but I don't really feel a difference. I think all the vests just kind of suck and take away from airtime.
yeah, and
I
then
love Shikra and I love Griffin. I have to say, those two are fantastic.
yeah, I hope to do those because that might redeem my opinion on dive coasters because Valraven was not amazing. I'll just say, roughest steel coaster we've been on.
Oh man. Oh, you know what?
Ooh,
Mm, yeah, that's tricky.
there's one I've ridden recently that I'm a little surprised that it might contend for it, but it might. But I don't think it's quite the roughest. Actually, no, I know what it is. Never mind. Yeah, Boomerang at Knott's Berry Farm. That was pretty rough, especially towards the end there.
Oh, really? I
S-
didn't. I didn't think Boomerang at Knott's was all that bad. Oh, you know
really?
what? Funny enough, I think my roughest steel coaster is Boomerang at Six Flags Mexico.
Oh wow, I didn't ride that, so I
That is the worst Boomerang I've ever been on.
wow,
It's so
interesting.
rough. I could not believe it. Like it has all the worst qualities from the bad boomerangs out there. So you have when it engages with lip tills, some boomerangs like have a hard time doing that and it just like bangs your head back. It does
Oh,
that. And then it has bad braking in the station when you come back. And the course is just shaky. So it's like every bad thing that could happen is bad on Boomerang at Mexico.
interesting.
It's the worst coaster in Mexico.
Dang. Matterhorn, the Tomorrowland side, I wouldn't say it's the roughest, but
Oh,
it's
it's so
surprisingly rough.
it's so jank. I love that ride though.
I know, I love it, but it's like I was surprised by like how rough
It's
that thing is.
it's pretty jank. It's definitely
Yeah.
pretty jank.
Let's see what else we have though. Have you ridden Boardwalk Bullet?
That is one of the few really major wooden coasters I'm missing in the US. I want to ride Boardwalk Bullet so bad. I've actually been trying to ride it for the past like year. I just need someone to go with me because no one is willing to go all the way there for one credit. Or I mean, you have Iron Shark too, but that's expensive. You have to Uber from the airports, or you have to get a rental car, and it's just hard to justify 2 coaster credits. And you can't really make a Texas trip out of it because I've already done San Antonio and over Texas. Maybe when Dr. Diabolical opens, I could do San Antonio and Parrot because that's a reason to go back to San Antonio. And then Aquaman will be in over Texas, as will Prairie Screamer will be in Dallas. So you have reasons to do a big Texas trip next year. I need to get on Boardwalk Bullet though. Period. Like, I have to.
I have never been to Texas, so I mean, there's a lot of coasters there I want to do, but that is actually my top bucket list one, Boardwalk Bullet.
That was mine before even going to Texas for the first time.
Nice.
I still need to get on that.
That's awesome. We'll take a few more questions, probably probably 3 more is my guess, and we'll move on to the next segment. Making pretty good time here just by the looks of it. At least it should be. Let's see what else we have. Like I said, if there's any questions you want to answer, let me know. Mm-hmm. Ride to Happiness or Time Traveler?
Ride to Happiness by far.
Easily.
By far.
Ride to Happiness. I watched Canopy Coaster's review of it. I'd highly recommend if you haven't, unless you don't.
I love his reviews. He goes in depth into every element, which is unlike a lot of YouTubers.
Yeah, and he said it might be his number. I mean, I guess that's a spoiler, but he said it might be his number 1 coaster.
Ride to Happiness looks better than Conda. Can I just say?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Oh my gosh, that ride looks ridiculous. I was not expecting it to be that good, but from all the reviews we've been hearing, I got to get to Belgium. That looks so good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully, Wallaby Belgium is able to reopen. Yeah. Hopefully, in the nearish future.
They said October 1st or something.
What was that?
They said October 1st, I think.
Yeah.
And they said they're making good progress on that. I hope everything goes well.
Yeah, the entire floods over there was just tragic for all the people involved over there. It's crazy.
Oh yeah,
that happened. Next question: do you think you'd prefer Helix at Leesburg or? Oh, that's tough.
That's a very difficult one. They're great for many different reasons. I'd say Heron.
If you took the theming out of Tehran, I'd easily say Helix, but with theming, I think I have to go with Tehran.
Terran is like a full package, whereas Helix it's also a full package in its own right, but Terran just has a little bit more to it. You got the theming, you got the soundtrack that's playing around the ride. Like, that thing just looks perfect.
Underrated aspect of Helix, though, at least for someone who hasn't ridden it, the terrain work they did with that ride is unbelievable.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good, yeah.
Yeah. That, like, in its own way, almost, like, makes it as impressive. Not as impressive, but, like, it makes it pretty impressive, so... yeah, but both rides look amazing. Let's see. Like, I guess we'll do another question. Yeah, one more. I don't see any, though. What is the worst coaster we've ridden? You can go first.
I was, right before this podcast, I was working on a script for the top 10 worst coasters I've been on.
Okay, so then we'll just wait. We'll
Keep
wait
your eyes out.
All right. Keep your eyes on that. You guys already know what mine is. Mine is Coast Rider, just a piece of garbage.
It's so stupid. It's so dumb.
Yeah, it's just such a dumb ride.
I hate the shin guards. They don't need to be there. You can't, like, if you're my height, I'm not even that tall. I'm like, yeah, dude, I can't, like, fit in that train anymore.
Wow. I mean, I'm only like 5'6", which I'm short for those of you who don't know. But yeah, even for me, it's like really painful. And the ride just runs terribly anyways. It's like break to death.
Great, so. Yeah, it's so trimmed. They need to get rid of that. Yeah. I wish they spelled Garrulous Plunge. It's so much better.
Did you actually ride that before it died?
I never got to ride it, no.
Ah, dang. I was going to say that would have been cool. That was a long time ago, though, so.
Yeah.
I never got to do that either, so. Although I actually did visit Knott's when Coast Rider was under construction for my first visit, so I've been around for a little bit. But yeah, that's gonna be the last question, unless there were any other ones you saw that you might want to answer.
I think we're good.
Um,
Yeah. Well, let's see if there's anything else. Oh,
if
have
there
you been on
is,
Swamp Fox?
oh, okay, I'll get to that real quick. Yes,
Have
well,
you been
I
on
have not,
Swamp?
but
I haven't. It it looks fun. It's just hard to justify going all the way to Myrtle Beach for that. So I don't think I'm going to do it anytime soon, to be honest.
yeah, that's a tough credit to get to. Looks
Mhm.
really fun though. Would agree with you there.
Maybe once I'm 18 and I can drive myself around, then maybe. But until then, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, that like you're right though. Yeah, it's just hard to get to. The next thing we're gonna go into is our tier list. This is gonna be 20 random coasters we've ridden. I hope the idea with this was that at least one of us, if not both of us, have ridden these coasters. So I can only hope that I was correct in my assumptions for the ones you've ridden.
Oh yeah,
Um,
you're probably fine. I mean, worst case scenario.
well, but the chat is also involved with this
Yeah,
anyways.
exactly.
So
So worst case scenario, we'll take an educated guess with the chat and everything.
all right, so I'm gonna put this on the screen. Does it look? I need to stretch it out a little bit, so that way we have it. Should be good. Hopefully that. Chat, let me know if it looks. If you guys can see the tier list thing, it looks like it should be good. So we're gonna do that. Hopefully. So chat, just let us know, and we'll start right away with the tier list. All right, looks good. All right. The first coaster we have for the tier list is Bullet at Selva Magica. And I
Nice.
did this for RCDB, so that one was just really lucky.
Yeah, so I got to ride Bullet earlier this year. Not many coaster enthusiasts who've gotten around to it. And I'm so glad I got to ride that. It's a solid 8.5 out of 10 coaster. Where would I put it? I would probably say around a B tier because I would consider S and A tier to be like, you need to ride these rides at some point in your life. Bullet is around that range, but it's still not quite A, I feel like. Because, if you never get around to riding Bullet, like many enthusiasts probably will never get the chance to, then big deal. But it's a really unique ride, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It
it
looks like
looks
Chad agrees, too.
yeah, the chat it looks like they agree. I see. Uh so far I'm seeing all B's, so it looks like everyone agrees there. Next coaster we have is another one that only you have ridden, but I've at least seen this one. This is Canyon Blaster at Adventure Dome.
Yeah, that's actually right around the same caliber as Bullet. I would also say that's a B tier. It actually used to be in my top 50, but it fell out recently.
Wow.
So yeah, that and Bullet are around the same range. Canyon Blaster is so intense, and I love that ride. It's one of my favorite indoor coasters.
Nice. And the chat also, at least up to this
Yeah.
point, appears to agree.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Coaster Rister says another high B tier. I completely agree. I think both are high B tiers.
All right. So then we'll like if there's other beachier ones, we'll just like have them lower.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Alrighty. So the next coaster we're gonna do is West Coaster at Santa Monica Pier, which we've both ridden.
Yeah. You want to go first?
I guess I will. I mean, it is actually, if you've never ridden this ride, it is actually like it rides way better than it looks, and it actually has two really nice airtime moments. But at the end of the day, just compared to what the rest of these are gonna be, I probably say this is leaning toward like D tier.
Yeah. Put it in
Just
D.
compared to
Yeah.
the
So
rest.
I've ridden West Coaster on two separate occasions. I rode it first in 2018, and then I rode it recently in 2021, two separate times. And yeah, so there's two pretty solid moments of airtime, and one that is actually straight up like flagector. It kind of like a mini
Yes.
steel eel moment. It's really fun. Um, the helixes though don't do anything for me other than give a good view. The view is
Yeah.
fantastic. It's an iconic ride. I wouldn't put it at C though, because I mean, when you really think about it, a C tier is the tier below Canyon Blaster and Bullet. Like that just doesn't seem right. But I
All
think
right.
B is fair.
Yeah, I think so. Because, I mean, if it's an F, then it's probably not a good ride. And I think this ride's certainly enjoyable.
It's
It's just
enjoyable.
not
Yeah.
to the level of.
An F
Um,
would be a bad coaster. A D is a coaster that's just kind of fine or it's there, and that's
yeah,
basically West Coaster.
yeah, I would agree. And I agree. The helixes are absolutely forceless. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Next one we have are Batman the Ride clones. So I guess just take whatever the best one you've written and
These are
yeah.
so good, but hmm, oh man, that's like the very tip top of B tier for me, or the very bottom of A tier, and I'm really having a tough time
I'm
deciding.
gonna go. I myself am going with B. I'm actually not the biggest fans of these, but I need to
Yeah.
rewrite badly.
Oh yeah.
So,
See, okay. So like in chat, we have a very split decision between A and B.
ooh.
Yeah, Batman clones are ridiculously intense. I'm gonna say A. I love Batman clones. I
All
gotta show
right.
some love. You
All
don't have to
right.
put it in A though. Like, let's see what chat says. I mean, there's like a
There's A's and
three, four.
B's. It's
I'm
kind
seeing
of
like four
split.
Bs, and then we got like
Two A's. No, three
yeah,
actually.
A costumes just joined. Okay, yeah. So he says A. So like four A's total. Um,
And then you said A,
yeah.
and then
So it's basically
we'll
tied. I'm
just
gonna
put
go
in
with
low
A. I
A.
love Batman clones. They're so
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, we'll put in. I guess we'll call it low A. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Next coaster we have is Candemonium at Hershey Park.
Well, that's a fun ride.
I've not ridden
I'd
it,
probably
so I
put it
can't
in
say.
A also. I think it's a very good hyper. It's not one of the best B&M hypers I've been on, but it's fun. It has a good floater, and I like the speed hill. I like the helix. I think it pulls some good G's. The Outer Bank is different-y, but it's not super crazy, but it's different. So I'd say A.
Yeah,
It's not a super high A for me, but it's an A. That's what I'll say.
yeah, it looks really fun for sure. I haven't ridden a B&M Hyper, so I have nothing to compare it to, but it certainly does look fun. Also, yeah, Coastoons is in the chat. Hello. I just wanted to say that. Next
I'd say
coaster
it's
we
pretty middle of the road B&M hyper in terms of actual strength of the airtime.
nice.
It's not bad, not great for a B&M hyper. It's just there, but it's really fun. Yeah, it's a great model. Yeah, it's really fun.
I want to do one badly, so the next coaster we have is one that I've ridden. I don't believe you've done this one. This is Psycho Mouse at California's Great America.
Mm. No,
This
I have not
is
done that.
easily the best Wild Mouse coaster I've ridden. I would be inclined to put it in C, but I just don't think I can. But I think it's above. It's definitely above West Coaster. I think I'm gonna put it in D for now.
I was gonna
But
say it looks better than West Coaster, but um,
yeah,
I don't think you can put it higher than D. It's just a wild mouse, but it looks like a pretty good wild mouse, to be fair.
yeah, it's got some. It's got some pretty good laterals, and the airtime's actually quite good. So, don't skip this ride. It's honestly one of the
Yeah,
better coasters at Great America.
I'm getting
Um,
around to the Valley Fair one later this month, and I'm looking
oh,
forward to trying
nice.
it out.
I hear different ones are run a little differently though.
Apparently, the
So
Michigan one is fantastic.
yeah, I've heard that. So probably the number two coaster there.
Literally, yeah.
But yeah, Aero Mice, yeah, they seem fun. I do want to do the other two for sure. But I think we're gonna have to stick this into D, and the chat seems to agree. So well, we have two Ds and two Cs, but I think mine kind of overrules. So it's 3-2. So yeah. Next coaster we have is I have to make sure that this is what I think it is. Yes, it is. Colossus the Fire Dragon at Lagoon.
Oh, this
Which
road's fun.
okay, you've done good.
Yeah, I've been on this. Two loops, good G's. It's like Scorpion at Busch Gardens Tampa, but you have an extra loop. So if you've ridden Scorpion, you kind of have an idea of what Colossus is like. Um, I'd say C tier. It's definitely a caliber below Bullet and Canyon Blaster, but it's definitely also better than the Wild Mouse and West Coaster.
Yeah, I could see that. Have not done this, but it certainly looks like a tier above the other two. And
Yeah.
the next, and then actually, let's see what chat says.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
like the
seems to
hugest
agree.
Schwarzkopf fan actually, but I think giving it its fair shake, it's a C tier.
Yeah, that'll make Mindbender interesting. I'm curious what you'll think of that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's crazy ride. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
excited to ride that.
Next coaster we have is Corkscrew at Cedar Point, which we both ridden, I assume.
I actually don't hate this ride.
Neither do I.
Yeah, if you're in the back row, you get crazy ejector on the drop, and you get some good flow ejector sustained on the airtime hill. With that being said, the rest of the ride has absolutely nothing going for it.
Yeah.
And so I'm fine with a D or an F, whichever one you prefer. It looks like we have a batch in the chat.
Let's see. I'm leaning towards a D.
That's true because we have West Coaster there, and I think
Yeah.
it's around the same level.
Some people are saying F, some people are saying C, but I think it evens out. I think a D makes sense.
Yeah, that's fine.
I only did this right in the front row. The airtime you get on the first hill is, well, I guess the only hill, is actually quite good. And I didn't find this ride to be like actually really that rough, so it's fine. But it's not anything too crazy at this point, so I think D's a pretty good spot for it. Next coaster we have is Fahrenheit at Hershey Park.
Oh man, I love this ride. This is one of the most underrated coasters I've been on, actually, and I'll put it in A. I love Fahrenheit.
All right, I also agree.
If you ride in the back, you get
Yes.
some legitimately good forces. I mean, you get the drop, you get some great airtime on the drop, you get a great burst of probably ejector on the hill at the end. There's some good G's. It's not forceless like a lot of people say, and it's not shaky at all. It's one of the smoothest coasters I've actually ever been on. I like Fahrenheit. Yeah, put it at A. Everyone agrees.
Yeah, we have one S and one B, but
yeah so that evens out.
Yep. So, yeah, I completely agree. And yeah, I've only ever ridden this in the back row, so I can't say anything for any of the other rows, but it's that good in the back row, so, and it's definitely forceful there. This is not a forceless
No,
forceless
it's
coaster
not.
at all.
Yeah.
No. Next thing I have is Griffin at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, which you said earlier you liked quite a bit. So where do you stand with this one?
Oh man, similar situation to the Batman clones. I'm thinking very low A or very high B. I'm not sure. So let's see the vote.
So A, B, A. Wow, I'm surprised we're getting multiple A's. B.
Yeah. It's really good. Like, I love Griffin, but I just don't know how high I'm willing to put that relative to
Someone else said A. I think you're gonna get your wish and we're gonna put it in low A.
All right, that's fine.
All right.
I think around the same area as Batman is fine, yeah.
Okay. Next coaster is Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood.
That's an S tier without question. That ride is fantastic.
All right.
There is ejector all over the place, and the ejector will launch you to space. It's crazy. The first half of the ride didn't impress me as much as I was expecting, but it's still an S without question. It's an S, period. Everyone agrees.
Yep, everyone agrees. Super excited to do this whenever I get the opportunity. I think the Morgan, like their best coasters are pretty underrated. So
yeah, they are. Their whole top 4 is great.
Yeah, so I really want to do this for sure. Next coaster we have is Space Mountain at Disneyland, California.
I'll put it in B.
I want to put it in A, but I don't think I'm gonna get my wish. But
yeah, I don't think you're gonna get your wish, but I respect it because it's so much fun. I'm only gonna put it in B though. Most people are probably gonna end up saying C.
That's true. Let's see what the chat says.
I'd say
I'm way too high on this coaster. I understand, but whatever. No, that's not gonna change. I think we're gonna put it in B. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, everyone says B. Yeah.
All right, we'll do that. Yeah, okay. I can do that. Next coaster we have is Medusa's Steel Coaster, which we've also both ridden.
Yeah, we have
an S.
Yeah, it's an S. Yeah. It's one of the best sequenced RMC coasters I've been on. It flows phenomenally.
Yeah, I would say that makes up for the. I would say the strength of the airtime isn't quite there when it comes to the RMC.
Oh no, I agree. It's not as strong as Twisted Timbers, Twisted Colossus, Wicked Cyclone, but Medusa still gets onto that caliber of ride simply for its other unique strengths like pacing. Pacing is incredible on it.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes
100%.
sense. It was one of the earlier RMCs, um, but they did a really good job with it. I love the layout.
Alrighty. The chat is a little divided in terms of, but I think we're gonna keep it at S because we agreed on
We
it,
both, yeah, we've both
and
been
then
on it. I
yeah,
don't think has anyone else in the chat been on it.
I'm not 100% sure. Actually, I think Stanford Bridge has, so he did put A, but I don't know that anyone else has. So
Yeah, Coaster Roaster summed it up pretty well. He said the pacing looks insane, but none of the individual elements look to pop on Medusa. And I'd pretty much agree.
yeah,
The whole thing is just really good. It's not, there's no individual element that's going to be like, holy frick, so crazy. The
yeah,
pacing, the sequencing is fantastic.
yeah, 100% agree. The next coaster we have is Joker's Jinx at Six Flags America, which I have not ridden, but I assume you have.
Yes, I've been on this. I actually like Poltergeist a bit better. It wasn't as intense as I was expecting because I think Poltergeist is definitely more intense. And I don't know why. Same layout, no mid course. Nonetheless, this is a good ride for that park. I would say C tier. Um,
All right.
yeah. Oh wow, people love this ride.
Wait, really?
People
A
think this is
tier?
A. Nah, man. There's no way. It's really
Wait,
good. And then we have a couple C's. Yeah, I'd say C tier.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're getting some C's now.
Okay. I think we're gonna stick with that. If I had to pick, even though I haven't ridden it, I would probably agree with you and say C. But I haven't done any of these Premier Spaghetti Bowls, so I think we're gonna stay in C.
I mean, let's not forget, like, it's not a relentless ride or anything. The coasters
Yeah.
above it are pretty relentless.
when as you say that, I mean we have Space Mountain. Yeah, it's actually pretty intense, but I don't know that I would call it like an
Well, that's
absolutely
true.
relentless ride. But no, the other two, yeah, I agree. Next coaster we have is the one and only Skull Mountain
Oh
at Six
man,
Flags Great Adventure.
people are gonna hate me for this. I thought this ride was like so mediocre.
So what are you thinking?
It's like a low key an F.
We actually do have an F.
It's
So
not that good. The drop is good, but you need to be in a specific seat for that. Like what? And then the rest of the ride sucks ass. I don't know. Put it in D, I guess,
some people are we have an F, a few
because everyone's
C's.
saying like C. So put it in D.
Yeah, all right.
There's no way it's a C, guys. There's just no way. Hell no.
Yeah. Okay. I think okay. Now, yeah. I think everyone agrees. We're close to everyone. Next coaster we have is Superman Escape from Krypton.
Yeah, I would put that one C as well because if you get a
Yep.
front row ride, the wind is ridiculous. Like it's on par with Dragster and King Ka in terms of speed sensation, at least on the way back and when you're going forwards. And that is a great sensation. That is literally what makes King Ka and Dragster so good. And I think it's an underrated ride. It's short, but it packs in some good sensation. It's fun.
That's respectable. To be completely honest, I probably would have put this in D, but I'm gonna stick with C because I know I've heard it's gotten a lot better since, like I said, it's reopened. So I'll
Yeah.
just assume that's correct, or at least
Yeah,
that I'll
we're getting
think
a
that
lot
way.
of
But yeah,
C's as well. We
yeah,
got
I
four
see
C's.
that. Yep.
Five including me, so five C's. So that yeah.
All right, so we're gonna do that then. Next coaster we have is Switchback at ZDTs.
Oh, this ride is so fun. Yeah, this is a great ride. Oh man, ranking it is a bit tricky though, because it's
Yeah,
super unique. I'll put it at B because I mean it's a shuttle coaster like Bullet, and it's
and
okay.
chat
Yeah,
seems to agree up to this point, so I think we're gonna stick with that. I think it's gonna be a B. We have 1A,
it's
but I
really
think
good.
yeah, it looks super fun
It's I
and
don't think
super
it's an A,
unique.
guys. No, I don't think Switchback is an A. It's not a family coaster though. It's pretty intense, like relative to what I was expecting. It's just not gonna knock your socks off.
The next coaster we have is Grizzly at California's Great America. I don't you haven't I don't think you've
I
been to
haven't been on
NorCal,
this.
so
It looks pretty boring. It looks like an
yeah,
F.
this is an F. Like,
Hey, okay.
yeah, this is an F.
It
If
doesn't
anyone
look good.
disagrees, like you can put in the chat, but no, this thing's an F. It's just super boring. It's not even that rough. It literally doesn't do anything though. So it like actually doesn't do anything. It doesn't have any forces. Has no airtime. It doesn't do anything. I see D's and F's, but are we really gonna put this in D though? I at least feel like the other rides are at least enjoyable. I mean, Grizzly literally doesn't do anything.
I almost fell asleep on this ride.
Exactly. Like the only thing, like it has like a slight shuffle that wouldn't make you fall asleep. That is it. That is like all it does.
No, just keep it an F. I'm with you.
Yeah, it's an F. I don't know how many people here have
Well,
actually
here's the
written
thing,
it, but
guys. What coaster YouTuber do you know makes countdown videos and actually ranks Grizzly like above the bottomest spot that it can go, the lowest spot it can go?
outside of like the kiddie coasters,
Yeah.
which even then I would probably put a kiddie coaster above it.
I don't know.
Um,
I could see
but
both, but let's just leave it at F, especially because we have no F tiers.
yeah, that's true. We probably just need one there, and that's the most justifiable, easily,
Yeah.
at least in my opinion. Next we have I-305. I mean, I think this is pretty.
S period. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's actually pretty bipolar. I don't know why. Honestly, it's so good that I struggle to understand why. But I guess a lot of you aren't into intensity. But to me, it's like the highest S you can go. You can't go any higher in the S tier for I-305.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone agrees.
All right. It's not everyone's ride. I understand that, but I mean, it's the best coaster at what it does, basically. So you can't argue against that. And then the last coaster we have is Vekoma Boomerangs. Like, that's also tough because they kind of vary, but
They do vary. Which one? Do you know which one specifically that is? It's probably one that we haven't been on.
oh, you see, I just looked up I think this is either. I think this might be the one at Wild Adventures or something.
Yeah, I haven't been on that one.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. The picture
Okay,
doesn't matter that much.
so we have C's. We're getting a D.
I'm leaning towards D, and I think honestly I'm being generous when I do that.
Oh no, I don't hate boomerangs. I don't think it's an F at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's there in the C to D range. You can put it at D though because
I think more people are saying C, so I think we're gonna go with that. And if you
yeah, you
say
can do
C,
C. Yeah, C's fine.
all right, we'll do that then.
Boomerangs are not that bad for me.
I haven't ridden one in 7 years, so my taste could have totally changed, but I did not like them when I was younger. So, and I was a coaster enthusiast even then, but yeah, it's been a while, so I'll give it a chance. Put it in C. That seems fair. And that is our tier list. Any changes you might want to make before we finish it? Because I guess we can make any final changes. It looks pretty. I think it looks pretty solid. So
I think
what do you
it's
think?
pretty agreeable, yeah.
Yeah. This is probably the least controversial tier list we've had up to this point. The On the Hunt episode was kind of insane, and then the one where with Airtime Thrills and 808 Coaster Life, I think we had a few controversial spots. So there you have it. That's the tier list. Thank you guys for participating in this and helping us try to figure out where to rank these. And yeah, that was that. So with that being said, we'll move into our last segment before the final Q&A, which will be topics to discuss. And the first one, this is for you, Mark. Tips for traveling and doing long park or coaster trips.
Yeah, so the best tip I can give, if you can find someone to go with you and split costs, if you have people that are willing to drive you around, I mean, you can help them with gas money, of course, too. But if you have people willing to drive you around, save money on as much stuff as you want, it depends because this question can be considered vague if you are struggling to come up with a big trip and relates to actually getting around, or if it's cost or whatever it may be. If it's cost, then it's more like just try to bring as many people as you possibly can, not to the point where you're going to have like a car with 7 people in the trunk, but like just find a friend or 2 or 3 and travel around. It saves a lot of money. You can split hotel costs, you can split Uber costs, rental car costs, whatever it may be. In terms of flights, definitely check Google Flights. They narrow it down pretty well. And also too, sometimes you might want to check 2 separate one ways might be actually more viable than a round trip. It's kind of weird that they don't just do it automatically and show it, but so that's my tip for flights. And then as far as getting around, I'd always recommend, if you have like a longer drive on the trip, on a long road trip, find a hotel in the middle, split up the drive. So you do some at night and some in the morning. That's a good idea. And other than that, if you guys have any other specific questions, feel free, but I think that's all I really got.
Those are some good suggestions, especially the getting multiple people to split up the costs. Even doing like some of these mini road trips, like it just helps out a lot.
It helps a lot. It really does.
Yeah, so I can agree with you there.
If you can get like a Six Flags pass or a Platinum pass by Cedar Fair, that obviously saves you money. Just try to reserve as much money as you can if cost is the biggest concern, which usually it is.
Yep. But yeah, no, those were some good tips for sure. And I know there's probably quite a few people who are watching who or who will be watching this later who maybe are like interested and haven't really done a longer road trip before. So yeah, good to hear about that for sure. Or like just any trip, like also, yeah, you mentioned flights, so good tips there as well.
Actually, one more thing too. If you guys are into nature, check the state you're in, see if there's any national parks, national forests, state parks along the way. Because chances are, if you're in an area that has no coasters for a while, like a 4-hour radius, and you have to drive from a park to a park, there may be some pretty cool nature there, because the reason that there might not be a park there is because it's just a really heavily forested area or something like that. So if you're into nature, see if you can find something along the way or around the parks, and that can make for a really fun stop as well. And you can split up drives doing that.
Yeah, that's also a good tip. I mean, yeah, I haven't done too much, but really, like if there's a long split between a park, like either if it's a natural park or a national park or maybe some other sort of attraction, that would probably be something to look into.
Yeah, I mean, I just finished a video yesterday on basically how to plan a Silverwood road trip to the best of your ability, because that park is pretty out there. And so it's basically just about like justifying a trip to Silverwood and things you could do around it, because obviously it's not cheap or easy to get out to. So one of the things I said is you might want to check out some of this nature around it. I give my recommendations, and then Glacier National Park is like 4 hours away, but it's amazing. And pairing that with Silverwood's awesome. So
nice. That sounds fun.
Yeah. So if you ever get to Silverwood, I would highly recommend like popping into Montana or something.
That's cool. I can't wait to see that video. I imagine you have footage of the park as well, so that'll be cool to see for sure. Next question, or actually, is there any other things you want to mention before we move on to the next thing?
Oh yeah, you can move on. Yeah, go ahead.
Alrighty.
As long as anyone doesn't have questions.
I didn't see any. So, but the next question I have is, how was writing the SNS Axis prototype? I believe you're the first guest that I've had who's actually written it, believe it or not. So,
yeah. I got to go to Utah late last year, I think September, like around now, actually last year. And my friend Josiah, National Coasters, needed guests to go with him to write Axis, and he invited me out. And so he's the reason I got to write it. So full credit goes to him, of course, but it was a great experience. Everyone at SNS is super nice and very hospitable, to the point where they'll just take you around the facility, show you around. You don't even have to ask. They'll tell you about the ride. I actually got 2 rides on Axis, not just one. They let me go twice. And so I tried it once in the very front, once in the very back, because obviously there's 2 rows. And it's a really cool design. I love like the swivel effect. It's so hard to explain. It's unlike anything I can explain. It's like mix an arrow suspended, make the rotations really smooth and really graceful. but you flip upside down. Sometimes you have like crazy moments of airtime, like upside down airtime and lateral
Wow.
moments. It's a really cool design. I cannot wait to see one go to a park. They did tell me there that they had sold an access to a park, or at least were in talks to sell an access to a park. And so I look forward to seeing which park that ends up going to. That'll be really cool.
That's awesome. And you said the people there at SNS were like they were, you said, very hospitable. I don't know where the prototype is. Is it near? I mean, I assume it is it nearby
It's
a factory of theirs or?
Yeah, their facility is in Logan, Utah, which is
Okay.
about an hour-ish, hour and a half north of Salt Lake. And so it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you're
Hmm.
driving through a bunch of mountains. Like we saw like a bunch of cows or sheep, whatever,
Nice.
along the way. Literally in the middle of just a beautiful region of Utah. And just suddenly you'll see this prototype coaster out in the distance. Like, whoa. So, and I think that's where they built the prototype Hypersonic XLC, actually was in that spot.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I saw that on like a poster or something there.
Wow,
It's
that's
pretty
really
cool.
cool. Um, was there like I don't know if like the actual factory, did you guys do a factory tour as well, or was it just writing the
I
prototypes?
didn't, because I was busy writing Access the second time.
Okay.
The rest of the guys in my group kind of went through it briefly because they had to use the bathroom, and to get to the bathroom, you had like walk through
Oh.
everything. And so along the way, they just showed him everything. And yeah, there was like a bunch of parts. I remember seeing some stuff for the King's Dominion free spin before it was actually moved over to King's Dominion.
Oh wow.
So I've seen Toonbeely with my own eyes,
Dang.
the monkey coaster. So yeah, that was a really cool experience, and definitely worth going out. I mean, as long as you get the invitation, don't just show up as a
Yeah.
random nerdy enthusiast. I don't think they'll like that. But and you have to like sign a waiver too. I forgot to mention that you have to sign a waiver saying that they're not responsible for any injury or even death. It says like, which is nerve wracking at first until you realize nothing's gonna happen. I mean, people have written this thing.
Yeah.
When we were there, there's like a lot of bigger names. They try to get a group of multiple creators at the facility at one time to ride Access so that they don't have to operate it on numerous occasions because it saves expenses and whatever. And so they had Coaster Studios was out there, OBC was out
Nice.
there. Who else was there? I think freaking no, I don't even remember the name. Just those two guys. Those two channels were out there the same day as us, and we got to briefly meet and hang out. Oh, Midway Mayhem was there too. I forgot to say that.
Oh nice.
So just like a bunch of the bigger guys were out there the same day, just so that they can save costs, I guess, running it, or at least people are busy at work there, so they never always have the time to just operate it for anyone. So they have to make sure that they operate it when a bunch of people are there. Well, they can. Yeah.
Nice. That's like such a unique experience that you have, so it's
Mhm.
awesome to hear about it.
It was really
Uh,
fun. I loved the prototype itself. So and the launch too. I forgot to talk about the launch. It's probably not going to be common on the other Axis coasters, the permanent ones. That was, however, my first air launch, and
oh
that was
wow.
ridiculously intense.
Wow.
There's a video of me like a rider cam on Axis, and you can see my whole body lift up on the launch. It's like you get airtime on the launch. It's pretty crazy. And that was
Wow.
actually what stole the show for me, is that launch, even though it had nothing to do with the technology. But then, of course, right after you flip onto that one thing, which is a really fun inversion right there.
That's that's great that your first air launch was on a
It was on
prototype
a
coaster.
prototype. I know. It's so funny.
That's really cool.
In my defense, there's not a lot of them in the country, unless I like rode Max Force or something.
Well, I mean, technically, well, if you've ridden an SNS drop tower, technically that
Oh
would
yeah,
be an
that's
air
true.
launch, but it's not on a coaster, so I won't like say that. So, no, that's
Yeah.
really cool though.
And I remember them saying, by the way, um, this is a nerdy fact. There's like a little regional airport right next to the Axis prototype.
Oh
That's the
wow.
reason they didn't build it with a lift hill. They built it with a launch because they wanted to make sure it was short enough and it wasn't a
Oh,
disturbance to the airline right next to it, or the not the airline, airport right next to it.
wow, interesting.
Yeah, so there you go. This guy says, I've heard that the axis is basically a modern aero suspended. Yeah, but it's definitely considerably better than the aero suspended though. But it definitely feels like a modern version. Like the rotations are very smooth. Yeah.
That's good to hear because that would have been one of my questions with that, just because it has the rotations. It's like how smooth is it, and it sounds like it is
Extremely
pretty.
smooth.
So yeah,
That like
that's good.
smoother than the free spins. It's
Wow.
pretty
Oh, I haven't
amazing.
written those, but most people probably in the chat have. So
Hmm.
dang, that sounds really good. Then hopefully we get to see one of those very soon. It would be
Yeah, I hope
awesome
so. I
to
definitely hope
ride
so.
one. The last topic we have to discuss, actually, both of us we can get into this, but I'll let you start this off because you visited Mexico, I believe, for the first time this year. And you didn't just do Six Flags Mexico, as you mentioned, you also did Bullet at Guadalajara, and you did a few things outside of that too. So,
Hmm.
just if you want to give us your thoughts or really anything you just want to say about Mexico, go
Yeah.
right ahead.
This was my first time really going deep into the core of Mexico. Before that, I had been to Mexico before, but it was just like
Oh,
on a cruise, and we just stopped in Ensenada. And honestly, I'm not really a huge fan of Ensenada. I thought it was kind of cool. But I get more to Mexico than just that. Ensenada is definitely a more touristy thing that you're going to stop at on a cruise ship or something.
hold on, I gotta stop you for a second. You kind of froze for a little bit. I think we're good
Yeah.
now. Okay, I think we're good. You're
Yeah. Okay.
good.
Um, so yeah, I've been to Ensenada before. Didn't love it. But I got to go back to Mexico. Did a full road trip around Mexico. Not really road trip actually. We basically what we did is we flew to Guadalajara. We did a day and a half Guadalajara. Flew out of Guadalajara to Mexico City. Did a day and a half Mexico City, and then we were back into the U.S. But we actually ended it out with a day in Vegas because it made flights $100 cheaper. So
Oh, nice.
that was a little extra thing we did at the end. Mexico is a really awesome country. It's definitely the situation where like it's there's stereotypes surrounding Mexico, like you're going to die if you go there, you're going to get shot, or there's drug smuggling everywhere. That's not the case. I mean, it can be to an extent. Obviously, you definitely need to like know where you're going in Mexico. There's areas that are safer than others, and areas that are more dangerous than others. At the end of the day, though, the point I'm trying to make is that there's so much more to Mexico than people give it credit for, and I think it's a chaotic country. So much is going on at once. It's also a beautiful country, and one of my favorite things I got to do there was check out some architecture. I have like a travel vlog from Mexico, and I got to see a bunch of cathedrals and churches and everything, and they are beautiful. And you would not see anything like that in the U.S. And we'd see people go and pray for a second. It's just literally an amazing moment to see all that stuff. And so Guadalajara, I went to first, and that's probably my favorite city I've ever been to right now. That place is so cool. There's architecture everywhere, and it's not overwhelming like Mexico City. In a way, Mexico City can be a little much for someone. There's just a crazy amount of things going on in Mexico City, and it's so big. It's huge. Like I cannot stress that enough. Um, so Guadalajara was my favorite city I went to in Mexico. I got to go to 3 parks while I was there. We actually drove by a carnival at the kitty credit, but it was too late to stop there, unfortunately.
Uh,
But we went to 3 official parks. First was Selva Mexica in Guadalajara, which was it's on the outskirts of Guadalajara. That's the park with Bullet. That's what it's most well known for. Unfortunately, that was the only coaster that was operational when I was there because Titan, which is their jet coaster, their Japanese jet coaster, that was actually under maintenance, and I saw them working on it. It's back open now, so if you're interested in going there, you should be able to get on the jet coaster also. But I was just happy that Bullet was running. That's really the big reason you'd want to go there. They also have, I think they have 2 other coasters there also. They have Tornado, which is a Jetstar by Schwarzkopf, but that's
yep.
been SBNO for years. And then they have a, I think it's like a Pinfari Zyklon with the loop. I have actually never been on one of those, but I saw it and it was just sitting there, and that's also been SBNO for a long time. So really, there's 2 operating there, but Bullet's going to be your main draw, and that ride's fantastic. Then I went to Six Flags Mexico. You don't really need an explanation for Six Flags Mexico, but it's one of the best Six Flags parks. It's beautiful, amazing operations, great food. Customer service is fantastic. Everyone's super nice, even the guests somehow. The rides are great. Medusa and Superman are both phenomenal. Third park I went to was Cataplume, which is actually a smaller park on top of a mall in the middle of
Yes.
Mexico City. Most bizarre thing ever. I mean, you're driving up and you see amusement rides on top of a mall, and it's like really high up there, so it's very weird to look at from the ground. Um, I have 3 coasters there. One of them is a clone of Freedom Flyer, and actually the drop and the first hill go off the edge of the mall, and it's a crazy view. Like it feels so sketch, just having nothing beneath you for I don't know how actually high it is, but it seems like 100 feet at least high. It's pretty cool, even though it's just a family coaster, and it's really fun. That ride is really fun. Then they have a spinning wild mouse that valleyed when I was there, so I actually never got the credit.
Oh,
And then the
dang.
other credit they have is called Choo Choo, and it's essentially a monorail coaster, I believe by SBF.
Yeah, SBF Visa did it. I remember looking at
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
they have one there, and then there's one in Germany, and I think there's only 2 in the world. It's a
Wow.
super unique model, and it's not really any good. It's just there. The
It's
park
a
is super nice,
monorail,
though.
so.
Everyone is super nice there. The employees are fantastic, and the mall is also great. There's some really cool places to eat in the mall. It's very modern. In all things considered, Mexico definitely was really revealing. Especially, I've never left the country. I mean, I've been to Canada before briefly, but I never really discovered another country like that or just explored a lot of it. I've always been pretty sheltered, here in the U.S. And so to actually see everything in Mexico with my own eyes is pretty amazing. Very different country, very different things going on there than the U.S. But I absolutely loved every second of it. Such a fun trip, and I'd recommend all of you guys, if you haven't been to Mexico before, definitely plan a road trip around Mexico. Check out all the big cities. Check out some of the coasters that they have there. They have some good stuff there, and definitely the architecture and the food. The food is great,
Yes, food is
and they have some
amazing.
very hospitable people in Mexico that are just very nice.
Yes.
Um, Nicer people than the U.S., if I have to add.
100% agree. Yep.
Um, and yeah, that's all I really have to say.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with most of what you said. Like actually pretty much almost everything. I mean, I haven't visited the 2 other parks you've been to, but Mexico, it's just very, if you've never been outside of the US, it's very different, but it's a very cool country to visit. The people there are very nice. Generally, like when it comes to staff and just the people just around, they are also very nice. So I like that you mentioned that. And when it comes to
People are
like the
extremely nice.
oh wait, what did you say?
People are extremely nice. Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on that.
Yeah, they absolutely are. So I agree. Food is awesome. Though you do want to be a little careful if you're going for like street food. That
Oh yeah,
might be a
definitely be
little.
careful. There's some street food stuff that I saw. I didn't actually personally go for any street food, but some of that stuff it looks good. Like it probably tastes great, but you're gonna end up with Montezuma's Revenge if you eat too much of it. You're gonna end up crapping so much. Actually, when I got home, I I was crapping like a whole lot because I had really good tacos in Mexico City, and it was like greasy and everything. So
Oh
no wonder why. But it was worth it for the experience, I suppose. Just yeah, be aware. There's a big stereotype around Mexico that it's just so unsafe and unstable. Really, it can be, but it's not. Mexico is obviously so much more than that, and that's kind of the point I wanted to make. So as long as you know where you're going, you're going to be safe. You're going to be fine.
yep,
I also recommend Uber in Mexico. It's very
absolutely.
efficient and so cheap. Like Uber there is better than Uber in the U.S. I have to admit.
It's a savior over there, really.
It really is. And
Yeah,
you don't really want to be driving. Like don't get a rental car. It's the drivers are chaotic. It's just
in
chaotic driving.
especially in Mexico City, it's
Especially Mexico City. It's
unbelievable.
insane. It's legitimately the worst traffic I've seen ever.
Yeah,
But the Uber drivers are experienced. They live there and they're really good at driving throughout the city. And so you'll definitely be safe on an Uber. And it's very efficient. They are really, really on time all the time and very cheap, as I said. Yeah, all things considered, it's a great country. I cannot wait to go back and check out more of the cities there.
yeah. It. I as someone who's gone multiple times, I'd absolutely recommend it for anyone who hasn't gone. Especially, I mean, for coaster enthusiasts who are just coaster enthusiasts, I do understand it's a little hard to what's the right word?
Justify a trip, maybe.
Justify it. But
Hmm.
if you're someone who enjoys like seeing historical stuff and different architecture, like you said with your brother, it's such a cool place to go to. There's just a lot of things you won't see in the U.S. there, so I highly recommend it. And
Hmm.
it's very safe. Like any city, you just have to know where you're going. It's not really all that much different, at least in my experience. So
No, it's not. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
I've seen sections that are very like crazy poverty, the worst poverty I've ever seen, actually. But really, if don't, I mean, you can be even walking around there, you'd probably be fine. But the point I'm trying to make is like in the city centers where all the architecture is, and there's a bunch of tourists and everything, you're gonna be fine. Nothing's gonna
yeah,
happen to you.
absolutely.
And another thing I wanted to touch on is one of the big things I was looking forward to going to Mexico is just seeing a new culture. Canadian culture is very similar to American
Yeah.
culture in a sense, and so Mexican culture is very different. It's a beautiful, beautiful culture. I'm just really glad I got to explore and experience that, and yeah, it was great. So that's kind of a summary on my trip to Mexico earlier this year.
Yeah, that was really cool to hear about. Like, we don't get too many opportunities on here to talk to people who've been to Mexico, so it's awesome to hear about that for sure.
Yeah,
And I'm
it's
happy you
cool.
had a great time there.
Thank you.
So, with that, actually, is there any last things you want to touch on before we move on to the final Q&A? Because that's going to be what we head towards.
I'm set. So yeah, let's just get on over to the questions.
Alrighty, sounds good. End of stream Q&A. We're going to do that once again. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, Discord, or Twitter, make sure to. And also, if you haven't followed CoasterDash yet on YouTube or Instagram, make sure to do that. All the links are in the description toward the top for those things. So, yeah, just wanted to say that. But yeah, so any final questions you have or any that we didn't answer earlier, you can ask them now. And the topics actually did go a little longer than I expected, but we're still doing good on time. As long as we
That's
get
good.
under 3 hours, that's like kind of my goal. So whether it's like 2 hours and 1 minute or 2 hours and 50 some odd minutes, if it's anywhere in between, it's good. Um, who is your favorite coaster YouTuber besides you, of course? That's so hard to decide.
Okay, I have two that immediately come to mind. First would be Chris from Airtime Thrills.
Yep.
Videos are great. He thinks of really everything in terms of topics. He'll make content videos on basically everything. He was actually one of the big inspirations for me starting my channel rebrand. Starting 2020, I just really changed the way my videos were forever and got into the countdown video side of things, voiceover videos, that kind of thing. Um, yeah, whereas before it was like cookie cutter countdowns with music in the background and that kind of thing.
Yep.
So my videos got a lot more professional. My biggest inspiration was definitely Chris. I've even honestly stolen a couple of his video ideas. I mentioned that it's his before getting into the video, but some of his video ideas are very creative, and I really
Yeah.
like hearing about it. Very high quality, and my favorite thing about him actually in his channel is he supports a lot of smaller channels. Is something I noticed. He even made a whole video. He didn't need to do this, but a whole video shouting out smaller YouTubers. He even gave me a shout out in that video, and that was something I really
Yeah.
appreciated. And he watches a lot of my videos, comments on a lot of my videos. That's something you never see with bigger YouTubers in the coaster world. So that is something I really appreciate. Not just in for me, even though I obviously it's great, but just seeing him show his support to a bunch of other small YouTubers is absolutely awesome. The other big YouTuber that comes to mind is El Toro Ryan. He's obviously hilarious. Who doesn't love his
Yes.
videos? His problematic coasters series is great. His voiceover stuff is fantastic. But my personal favorite from his is his Coaster 8 series. I just think it's hilarious. I just watched the Michigan's Adventure one today, and yeah, that was a laughing stock. Pretty funny video.
Yeah,
For
those
those two.
two. Oh wait, sorry. You
Yeah,
have.
no, you're fine. Yeah, I'm curious actually. What are your favorites?
So, if I had to go with my favorite of all time and probably my inspiration, unfortunately, it's a channel that's no longer around. It's Canada Coaster Fan was kind of my inspiration for doing this channel. But Airtime Rules was as well. He would also be one of my favorites. I absolutely agree with you with his support of the smaller channels. He's been supporting me since like I was like at only like a few hundred subs. So I very much appreciate that from Chris. And of course, he's been a guest twice on here. Eltor Ryan, I'd also say, is one of my favorites. Another guest on here, and I really enjoy his Problematic Coaster series. And I'm not someone who usually likes to watch a lot of vlogs, but if I'm gonna watch them, it's gonna be his. So it's gonna be the Coaster Idiot
He has
series.
the best
So
vlog content on the platform easily.
yeah.
I've tried to make my vlogs a bit funnier. I still want them to be informative, but I'm trying to make them a bit more comedic because it's just inspirational to see his Coaster Idiot series. They're really good.
Oh, also Canopy Coaster not fan. Canopy Coaster fan. Gotta give him a shout out. He's also one of my favorites. And Coaster Studios, I don't watch his videos as often, but he's had an undeniable impact on the platform. So
I forgot.
absolutely.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. I mean, Coaster Studios. I guess I don't even need to mention him. Everyone knows who he is.
Yeah.
He's like the pioneer for Coaster YouTuber world. And his videos are great. I just don't know as much about him as a person. Whereas I know that Ryan and Chris are both great people. I've met Taylor actually twice.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. His videos are great. And his channel is definitely an inspiration for a lot of people. It's one of the bigger ones. But yeah, those are still my top two would be Airtime Thrills and Eltor Ryan for me.
It's so hard choosing them. I have quite a few I like to watch. You're up there, Coast Tunes, like
Coast Tunes is great.
yeah. There's so many. Like pretty much anyone I've ever had.
OK Coasters is pretty great. That's
yeah. Yes, he's awesome.
He doesn't upload as much as I wish, but I do recognize that his videos, the reason he doesn't upload often is because his videos are so high quality.
All I'll say about OK Coasters is stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Oh, nice.
But yeah. He's also awesome as well. And he doesn't watch these live, but he is a longtime viewer of these streams as well. So that's awesome. Let's see. What's your thoughts on Apollo's Chariot, Alpengeist, Tempesto, and Invader? That was the other.
We're getting a whole Busch Gardens Williamsburg review right now because I already got the Griffin and Loch Ness one, so these are like the remaining credits. I'll start off by saying Tempesto's garbage. Invader is really fun. Invader's it gets a lot of hate for no reason. It's like a really fun family thrill coaster. Apollo's Chariot disappointed me, to be honest. It's definitely not an elite hyper. The airtime strength just is not there compared to a lot of the others. Setting is great though, and it's actually pretty intense. It pulls some good G's compared to other ones. Like that Helix mid-ride is pretty fun. And lastly, Alpengeist is incredible. Alpengeist is second best B&M invert I've been on, behind Montu and just ahead of Afterburner Caravans. And that ride is just a powerhouse. The first half is so intense and fast that the reason you hit that mid-course so violently is because you have so much speed. It's just trying to regulate the speed, which is so much because the first half is on such a huge scale. But that ride is amazing. It's so consistently intense, which I love.
That Alpengeist looks so cool because it's kind of an outlier when it comes to B&M inverts because, you know, when you think of a larger one, you think of Banshee. And so the fact that they made a huge one in the 90s is kind of insane. So like Alpengeist. So, I mean, that ride looks exceptional. And the other coasters look great as well. Apollo's Chariot, you mentioned the Helix. That looks pretty nice. So,
yeah, this guy said, you gave high praise for Alpengeist. Alpengeist is the one coaster at Busch Gardens Williamsburg that made my top 50 list, if you saw that.
Yeah.
Pantheon will obviously make an appearance when that opens. But
yeah,
Alpengeist is fantastic.
Oh yeah, gotta just do this. Shout out the Airtime Thrills Discord. It's great. I'm a reporter on there for the news, so I'll sometimes report on there. But yeah, great Discord server for sure. Just thought I should give a shout out because it was mentioned. Let's see what else. Would you rather have a Conda clone at Frankie's Fun Park? I'm actually not entirely certain what that is. Or Steel Vengeance at Idlewild.
Oh man, I think Frankie's Fun Park is some stupid FEC. A Steel Vengeance clone at Idlewild would be great because that's actually a reason for me to head out to Idlewild and make it a point to go there, and then I can pair that with Roller Coaster and the Wild Mouse, which are both really unique credits. So obviously, I'd rather do that. And also, that park is actually like a legitimate park. It's not an FEC. Idlewild looks genuinely good. but it's expensive, and so I guess that would help justify the cost. So definitely that.
Yeah, that would be cool. Only issue is it's a palace park, which
I know,
eh,
yikes, yikes.
yeah. We already answered worst coaster we've ever ridden. Mine was Coast Rider, and Mark is doing a video next week, right? Or is
Should be
it?
next week, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that. Let's see. What else there is? Did we ever ride Green Lantern at Magic Mountain? I did. Yes. It was not good. You did not?
No,
Oh my god.
I went once in 2015, and it should have been open, but it wasn't all day for some odd reason. That was
Huh.
the one opportunity I had to ride it. My next visit after that was actually all the way in January 2018, and that was long closed. I'm slightly saddened that I didn't get to ride it just because I wanted the credit. Honestly, I'm just like a credit whore in that way. But it didn't look very good. I think the other ones look a lot better. Like Insane at Gronaland looks a lot better.
Yeah. This one didn't run correctly, basically, so that was kind of the problem. This is like the one coaster that like I got off and I didn't know what to think of it. I was just like, why? Why does it exist? Even more so than Grizzly. So, and it was a little uncomfortable, but it wasn't terrible. But I rode it way after, like when it ran like ridiculous, like in its early years. So it was just kind of a dumb ride when I rode it. Um, let's see what else we have. What are the questions? As I've mentioned, if there's any that you see that you want me to pick out, just tell me.
This one's pretty interesting. What was your last coaster?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Oh man. Oh wait. What was my last coaster? Oh, you know what? It was at Silverwood. The last coaster I rode was Tremors at night. Last ride of the night. That was so good. Oh no. You know what? No, it wasn't. I went to That was the last new coaster I got.
Oh, nice.
The last just general coaster I got. I was at Disneyland in Knott's last month. Um. So I'd say probably Matterhorn. No, wait. I went to Knott's more recently than Disneyland. Yeah, I'm getting everything confused. I'm traveling so much I can't even keep up with myself. I think it must have been Ghost Rider. Oh wait, but then I went to Adventure City after. You know what? I'm done. I'm done with
Oh,
this.
God.
I
That's a
can't
lot
keep,
to keep
I
track
can't
of.
keep up with myself.
Yeah.
Genuinely, the last coaster I probably rode was Rewind Racers. Then
Oh, nice. The last new one I rode was I actually didn't have the Matterhorn Fantasyland side credit, so I finally got that on my last Disneyland visit. But the last actual coaster I rode was Space Mountain because that was the last ride of the night.
nice.
Not for the park, but that was the last ride we did, not last ride of the night. Two different things. Yeah, that was the last ride it did.
What did you think of Fantasyland? The side.
It's it's just it has the better interactions with the with I like, do you call that thing the Yeti or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. With the animatronic, but it was just way more tame, so I was kind of disappointed by it
Hmm.
compared to Tomorrowland. I vastly prefer Tomorrowland, even though it's a lot more rough. It's just a lot more exciting, and I think it's a lot more fun. So I'm not as big of a fan of the Fantasyland side.
Yeah, that's fair. The Tomorrowland side is definitely better, like without question. But I
Yeah,
actually enjoy both.
I think I have like the Tomorrowland side like 9 spots, if not more,
I have
higher
it
than the
more than
Fantasyland.
9. Yeah, Tomorrowland
Yeah,
is so much better, but again, I still like the Fantasyland one. If that was the only one there, that would be. I think people would appreciate it more.
yeah, that's probably true. I decided to get 2 rides on Tomorrowland, and I only did one Fantasyland because, yeah, the other one, Tomorrowland is vastly superior. Um, would we rather ride Expedition GeForce or DC Rivals? DC Rivals without question, at least for me.
It depends.
Um,
If I'm running DC Rivals backwards, then I'll say that. Otherwise, GeForce for me.
the problem is I've heard GeForce has been running like garbage the last few
Yeah, it
years.
was neutered. It still looks
Um,
great. It still looks top 5 for me, probably, but yeah, it's been neutered, I guess.
yeah, although you do make a good point. I mean, absolute. I mean, if it were backwards, then DC Rivals in a heartbeat. Outside of that, I think I would still take DC Rivals, but um, Yeah, it is interesting though in that way. Um, let's it like I said, if there's any other ones you want me to get to, I can. What was our first ever coaster? I actually
I don't
sort of
have a
don't know
definitive answer to
this.
that. It's either Gadget's Go Coaster or Barnstormer at Magic Kingdom. I don't know.
That's funny because my first was either Gadget's Go Coaster or it was Space Mountain, which is so weird that it's one of those, but it is one of those.
It low-key might have been the Dania Beach Hurricane and Boomers in South Florida. I got that credit. That
Oh,
might have been the first credit I ever got. I actually don't know. I know I
wow.
wrote it. And that's like one of the proudest credits I have. Like I'm so happy I
Oh,
got
that's
that.
so
I got it on its
cool.
last year too.
Oh, that's so cool.
I was
That's a
so lucky.
coaster I look at and I'm like I don't know
It
why.
was
It doesn't even look that great, but it looked fun, so I
I
want
don't
to
actually
do it.
remember it. Apparently it was like an actually good ride. Um, and then I went back to the site like 2 years later. I have family in South Florida in
Oh,
Fort
nice.
Lauderdale, so we just wander around the area every now and then and visit. So we went up to Boomerangs. I was gonna see if I could get on the coaster. Really, I also just like grew up going to that location, so I'd go for the games and stuff. But the coaster was always an option there if it were open, which it really wasn't often. And of course,
Dang.
it had been permanently closed by this point, unofficially. Um, but we just saw it, and that was my first time seeing it as a genuine enthusiast. And I saw it, and I was just like, "Wow! Like, I cannot believe that's at a Boomers Park." I also can't believe it's in South Florida. There's nothing else in South Florida for major coasters.
Yeah.
So that's just impressive. It's a really impressive sight. And now you look and you drive by, and it's just depressing. It's literally just nothingness. You can see the
Yeah.
exact narrow plot where the out and back layout used to be, and it's just gone. It's
Dang,
so
that is
unfortunate.
sad. That's so
Yeah.
weird. We used to have a local boomers park here, and it was tiny. Like there's no way you could fit a coaster in there, or at least a major one. So to think that there was a boomers that actually had one, like a coaster
Yeah.
like Dania Beach
Um,
Hurricane, it's so crazy.
the coaster was actually owned by different people, but it was just joined
Oh,
with the Boomers location. And that was actually the biggest Boomers location I think ever built.
oh,
It's
okay.
actually pretty freaking big. The whole arcade area was genuinely like on the same caliber of Dave and Buster's or something. It was pretty good.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that's so weird. But that if that was your first credit, I know. I guess you probably can't confirm it. That's really cool. But yeah. Which manufacturer do we think we've done the most coasters from? I think it's actually a tie for me between a few of them. But what's yours? Or do you know?
Which manufacturer do you think you've done the most coasters from?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I think Arrow might be the one now because I think that other side of Matterhorn might have actually put it over the edge for me. So
Oh,
I think
really?
it might actually be
Oh, shoot.
Arrow.
Maybe it's B&M for me. Maybe it's B&M. I
B&M was up there. Yeah.
I can't think of anything else that would top B&M.
Yeah. I think for me it's Arrow, but I would have to double check that. I haven't looked in a while and now I have a few extra credits to put in, although it's like two Morgans now and like I think nine arrows or whatever, or I don't even remember. Um, but yeah, what's our favorite ENF Myler kitty coaster? Oh, I
Cosmos
have
Curves at
two.
Knoebels is ridiculous. It's genuinely an
Nice.
intense kitty coaster. I love that ride.
Sea Serpent at Santa Cruz is awesome.
Oh, that looks
So
fun. I
yeah,
want to
that
ride
one's
that. That
really
actually looks
good.
good.
It's actually really fun. I love that ride. I just like ENF Milers in general. Uh,
EF Miler is genuinely a pretty fun company. Like even their thrill coasters, as rare as they are, they're like really crazy.
I want to do one of those.
I got on Hurricane
Those
at
look so
Funspot
fun.
Kissimmee after trying 3 times and failing. Finally got on when I was in Florida last time, and it's just so weird. It's janky and it's crazy airtime, and I can't wait to ride Fairy Screamer at this point. If that's
Oh
going
my
to be
god.
crazier than Hurricane.
Yeah, I was so mad that I missed out on it, but I'm so happy that it's gonna be pretty conveniently located. It's like 5 miles from like over Texas. It
Hmm.
doesn't get much better than that. So, if anything, it's probably easier for me to get to than where it might have used to be, depending on where exactly it was.
That's probably true for me. I never got on Scandia Screamer because it was just too far up north, and it's hard to justify that drive to go just get that coaster. If it were still operating there, I'd probably just go ahead and do it. But I'm happy it's in Dallas because I'm all for an excuse to head back to Over Texas. It's a really good park, and I actually missed a couple credits there. Obviously Aquaman, but also Batman I didn't get on, and their Kitty Coaster I didn't get on. So that's 3 potential new credits at Over Texas, plus Scandia Screamer is 4 potential new credits in Dallas if I went back. So I think it's worth it if I wanted to do that.
Actually, does the park that Prairie Screamer it's going to, does it have any coasters? I don't think so.
No, it doesn't have any right now. It has a super loop that they advertise as a coaster though.
Oh. Yeah, I saw the super loop. I'm like, oh, they got one of those.
And they got a Larson Tower. That's pretty sick. I love Larson Towers.
Oh, the drop tower you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, those look cool. I haven't done one yet. Let's see. What other questions do we have? We probably will only answer a few more because it's almost 5 minutes till 3 p.m. Pacific. So that's when, like, kind of the max I wanted to go for. So yeah. Favorite family coaster?
Good question.
I guess Space Mountain. I honestly even think that's debatable as a family coaster at this point, but yeah,
Space Mountain's up there.
Yeah, Disneyland's version specifically.
Another one that's on the fence is Cheetah Hunt. Might be considered a thrill coaster, might be considered a family coaster, but that ride is really good. I also love Manta right here at my home park.
Yep.
Excellent family coaster. And then another one that comes to mind is Verbolten. Again, it might be a little intense to be considered a family coaster, but it's a ride that I absolutely loved. It's really a difficult question, though. It honestly mostly depends on what you consider a family coaster. Like, if you want to consider Incredicoaster a family coaster, then there's that. I don't know. But
even if
any one of those that I mentioned can be considered my favorite.
I have Manta and Space Mountain a lot higher than I do Incredicoaster, so that one's not really in the conversation. But Manta's also really good. I agree with that. That one, I guess I could have said for underrated, honestly. Because
Manta's great. Oh my gosh, I love that ride.
It's so fun.
It's at my home park. I've ridden it like over 300 times, and I'm not tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm never tired of it. It's so much fun.
I think I've only done it. I know I've done it twice. I might have done it 3 times. It's so fun. My brother, it was like a coaster I could take my brother on when he was scared of coasters, and he really enjoyed it too. So that was fun. In terms of other questions, I'm not seeing. Well, someone has. I think this has been kept being asked, and I haven't seen it correctly. But would you rather have El Toro cloned everywhere or Steel Vengeance cloned everywhere?
Either one is fine.
I don't know that I mean, but the problem is if one of them is that would just kind of I mean, I don't think it's bad to have a ride be cloned, but if it's everywhere, then I guess I'd rather have Steel Vengeance.
At this point, my logic is you can clone Steel Vengeance anywhere because what that would do is that would make people dislike the ride more. But the thing is that for some reason Steel Vengeance is getting hate now. So
yeah,
for whatever freaking reason. So I think that is honestly the preferred option because people already hate on that ride. It's so weird.
I think it's having the Fury effect that happened a few years ago.
Exactly. Or what Millennium Force had ages ago. Where the popularity just outshined how good the actual ride is.
Yep.
It sucks.
Although I will say I'm actually not the biggest fan of Billy, even I'm not saying that as someone who wants to bash it, but it's still a really fun ride, but it's maybe not
I love that ride.
Yeah. Yeah, you had it at 16 in your top
Something
50?
like that, yeah. I can never get enough of it. Have you been on it in the front? Because that's definitely what you're going to want to do.
Yeah, I have not, so that might propel it for me. Because
it was a lot lower before I rode front. The front is just a game changer. It's as drastic of a difference as the front is on Dragstore or King Dakar.
Oh wow, really?
It's a drastic change, yeah.
I've done Dragstore front, and if I had not ridden it in the front and done back, that would totally change where I have it. So.
Oh yeah, me too. Dragster in the front is a life-changing experience. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Same with King Dakar.
Yeah. All right. final question. This will be the final one. We're gonna go probably a little overtime just based off, but this will be the last question. Least favorite Six Flags and least favorite Cedar Fair park that I guess we've been to. I
Okay.
guess I'll go with mine first if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, my least favorite Six Flags park, I've only been to three: Mexico, Discovery Kingdom, and Magic Mountain. And Discovery Kingdom is by far my least favorite. I have never had a fully satisfying visit to that park, so that one's pretty easy. Something always seems to be off with the park, either operations wise or I don't know. I've just never had an amazing visit there. And least favorite Cedar Fair, I have actually technically done Gilroy Gardens, but I don't remember it, so I'm not going to include it. So I'm going to go with Great America because I've only done it, Knott's, and Cedar Point, and I would say Great America is the worst of the three, but it's
That's
still
fair.
pretty
Yeah.
solid. Yeah,
It still looks really good.
yeah,
Okay, so for me, I've been to, like, I think more than half of the Six Flags. I think I only have a couple more to do. Like Great America is the one that is really sticking out. For Cedar Fair, I still have to get to Kings Island. That's a huge one.
yeah.
But other than that, I've been to more than half, I think, from each chain. For Six Flags, my least favorite is actually an odd one. Well, not really odd. It's not unpopular. It's Six Flags America, but the reason I say it's odd is because I actually like that park a lot.
Oh,
Six
wow.
Flags America gets a lot of unnecessary hate. It makes no sense. And actually, it's right there with Six Flags New England. Both of those parks are basically ranked around the same for me in terms of parks. And Six Flags America is still really, really fun. So I'm waiting to see if there's a Six Flags park that really just doesn't impress me, because so far every single one I've been to has actually been pretty good. In terms of Cedar Fair, same story. Every single one I've been to, I've really enjoyed. But I would still say Worlds of Fun is my least favorite, closely followed by Dorney Park. Dorney Park just has an extra charm to it, so I can't really do that to it. But Worlds of Fun is a really nice park still. It's just too neglected, and you can really feel that when you're walking around the park. But Prowler is really good, so it's still worth heading out there for Prowler.
Nice. Yeah, Worlds of Fun, I guess out of the bunch you've been to, that makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
Six Flags America, I've never been. I find it interesting. I'm like, I know it has such a bad reputation, but compared to, I've had also some really bad visits to Discovery Kingdom. So I'm like,
Discovery Kingdom looks worse. I'm not even kidding. Discovery Kingdom looks
yeah.
like it just I mean, this year they've had 5 coasters down at once, like throughout the whole freaking season. Like, it's terrible. You can't do that.
And I haven't even went this year, so I'm terrified.
I might save Discovery Kingdom until next year at this point, because I'm worried that I'm gonna have a terrible experience there.
I hope you actually have a good one. To be fair, some of my visits have been at weird times. I did go during spring break a few times, so that may have not been the best decision. Though I also went on a summer day on another day and it wasn't great, so I don't know. That park is just not one I've ever had the best experience at, but that's pretty much gonna wrap it up. So, Mark, is there any last things you want to say before I end the stream?
I think I'm good. Yeah, we got to all of our topics. Great stream. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me on, dude. I'd love to be back on at some point in the future. Had a really fun time. Again, it was my first podcast. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it was a really fun time.
Yeah, an excellent job for this being your first live streamer
Thank you.
podcast. I wouldn't have known, like, just based off if you didn't like tell me beforehand. So, really good job there, and thank you so much for taking the time to come on here.
Of course.
Um, oh, and then one last announcement. This is pretty likely to happen. I won't say who the guest is going to be, but it looks like on September 25th, the Saturday 2 weeks from now, I should be having another stream. So be on the lookout for that. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time here on Coaster Hour. See you guys.